Hello and welcome to a Bergkamp Wonderland, an Arsenal podcast. I'm Gimli, and tonight my guests are, first up, ABW's resident fatty, an all-round good egg. It's Danny the BFG.
How dare you, sir? It's the first time you've been back for, 3 years?
3 weeks.
You're like the Tuesday Club. Whenever you're fucking not here, it's sadness. I don't know what I was going for there, but I think that turned out all right.
You've ruined the next intro.
Sorry, go on, get on with it.
Good. Next up, our next guest appears about as often as a Tuesday Club podcast. Mr. Fife, what do you have to say for yourself?
Thursday night, Channel 5.
What's on that then? Some kind of erotica?
I'm going to be even less frequented next season when we're playing on a Thursday night and it's corporate night in the city. I'm afraid I might have to become even more Abu Dhabi-esque. But yeah, everything's good with me. How are you doing, Gimli? It's been a while. You've been quite absent yourself.
Absent is the word indeed, Andrew.
Blaming fucks at Talk, you shitheads. Back to Sky now, Gimli.
I am back to Sky. They've even put it in the hallway downstairs, and I feel that I've got a better signal.
Good.
Even if it did take 3 weeks of no internet to find that.
That's a hate crime in some countries.
It is a hate crime. They should be hung, drawn, and quartered.
Or made to fly with that American airline.
Or just interviewed by AFTV.
Ooh.
Bitchy.
Next up, a true gent who brings a touch of class to every show. It's David Goonaholic. Hello, David.
Hi, how you doing, again? Nice to do a show with you again.
Yeah, I know. It's been a while, hasn't it?
It has. It's been too long. You were missed, mate. The only other thing I got to say is that I think Fife is the only one on air tonight who's going to be worried about corporate nights in the city next season.
Unless Gimli's worried about corporate nights down the local takeaway. And if we are playing in Europe, we will be recording on a Wednesday, will we, Gim?
I would imagine so, but we're not even going to make Europa League, so I wouldn't imagine that.
Hey, we record every day of the week.
we'll just move to suit.
Let's do it on a Friday, and then we can talk about losing to Ludo Goretz.
Well, FC Carrier Bag have done us 9-0.
The FC Bolokov of the Bulgarian League.
Red Star Parcels have done us again.
Our next guest can improve us on this. So I should say, and finally, back up to fuck things up and strutter the absolute shit out of this podcast. It's Gav from She Wore a Yellow Ribbon. Hello, Gav.
You know what? When you was doing the last intro about a true gentleman and, nice to have you back on, I thought you were talking about fucking me then.
Well, I don't really know what to say to that, but your intro was good.
9 out of 10. Go on, come on, let's get on with it.
How long was Gav not going to swear for?
I think it's about 3 seconds, I think.
He said it was the whole show, he said, before this.
You're going to fucking believe me, aren't you?
Of course.
Dull.
But your dulcet tones are a thing of wonder, Mr. Fife.
He's fucking here again. Interrupting.
Just can't get rid of him.
Oh, fucking Welsh tyrant.
Right,
meant
Danny.
well, didn't it? All the words I could think of to describe Jason, I come out of tyrant.
I could think of a few, but only the Welsh would understand them.
Oh, yaki da, pippity pong.
Pippity poppity pong. Right, we'll start off today's show with a far from brief look at all of the loans and scores across the board with Danny.
Well, because it's been a shit show, I'm going to cheer us up with only 2 bits of information here. Reading 2, Arsenal 5, under 23s. You never guess who scored a hat-trick. Yaya Sanogo's.
That's how shit Reading are.
Oh, and in honour of I don't wonder how many times we're going to say Tuesday Club, but we Ashley Maitland-Niles.
Conservative.
He got an assist for the 4th goal with Bramley. Debuchy, he played at centre-back, and Jenkinson played at right-back. So here we are playing poor old one-legged Hector, and our other 2 right-backs are playing. At least they're playing, keeping themselves happy. So that was really good, because Reading are shit. But then, even more impressively, because we know how much that Man City just go around and they buy up every single player within 1,000 miles. Where's the page gone? Oh, bloody hell, the page has moved on without telling me. Hold on, maybe you haven't updated it. Here we go. Fucking soccer way, useless tits. Arsenal under 18s 4, Manchester City, all the money in the world, under 18s 3. Eddie Nikita hat-trick. That is now 22 goals in 29 games. Oh. The kid is barely 17. I'm going to say that. I'm just going to have a look and see when his birthday is. He's 18 on the 30th of May, the day after the Offspring.
Oh, so he's 18 then?
19, I think. So
he got an England hat trick the other week as well, didn't he?
I think he did for the under-17s, but he's playing for the under-20s. Remember, the kid's 17. He's playing for the under-23s, 5 goals in 12 games in the league, and for the under-18s, 14 goals in 13 games. Oh. I mean, if I could, I'd stand up and salute the gentleman. Ed, I've been saying it for ages, only because of what I read on. And he said George Dawes, then it's not George Dawes, is it? It's George Bird. But from George Bird's site and all the wonderful stuff. That's how I know anything, is just from there. I don't ever go and watch the games. They're not on telly, unfortunately. So, that's it.
Willow rates him.
Who does?
Williamson. He's Willow on Twitter. He goes literally every Arsenal game he can. Home, away, Europe, 23s, youths, the whole skadoodle.
Yeah.
And I spoke to him briefly about him the other day, and he said he's a nice kid, level-headed kid. He said, and he's got the talent, mate. So there you go. And he's a very good judge of player, that fella.
Well, that's very good. What's his at again?
I'll find it.
You interrupt me when you found it.
All right, I will do.
Full Davis on it. Takuma Asano, he scored 2 goals for Stuttgart as they beat Karlsruhe. Sorry, John and Drew.
At Willow, 1886.
Oh, that's a good name. Dan Crowley played the full game and scored have you seen anybody see Dan Crowley's goal for Go Ahead Eagles?
No.
Nope.
Oh, wow. He cut in from the left-hand side and then was running towards the box and just decided, I'll have a swerve here. It was reminiscent of sensible soccer. Who said they saw it? Was it you, Fife?
Yeah, I did, yeah.
Go on. What do you think to it?
Mark Overmars.
Yes. And Mark Overmars had 2 spells at Go Ahead Eagles as well. Started and finished his career there. So they did lose 8-0 to PSV Eindhoven last weekend, but we'll gloss over that. And Kalichi Nakawakalaki played 88 minutes for MVV, and they lost 2-1 to Den Bosch. And surprisingly enough, Stefan O'Connor, to be sure, the Irish legend, wasn't involved. Szczesny played for Roma, and they beat Bologna 3-0. So doing well there. Jack played 90 minutes and impressed, according to George, as Bournemouth were beaten 3-1 by Chelsea. That's good. He's getting a game. And Christian Bielik played the full game and was named man of the match as Birmingham lost 2-1 to Derby County. John Terrell played the entire game as Rangers beat Aberdeen 3-0. That's another good one. Ismail, no one cares about. Caelan Hines, no one cares about. Joel Campbell came on the 76th minute as Sporting Lisbon thrashed Boa Vista 4-0. Mark Bowler, who's our old left or right back, came on in the 80th minute for Notts County. They won 2-1. Chupa Chupa Apcom.
Choo-choo.
Gimli's on you.
Wrong one.
He's asleep. Gimli.
But I do believe it's pronounced Akpom.
You're not even sure then.
I was. You caught me completely off my feet.
You know, my dream is to one day meet to go Chupa Chupa Apcom, and you go, it's Apcom. And I say that's what. One day I might say it right, and then you'll say it the wrong way.
For comedic gold, it can be arranged.
Unused sub for Brighton as they beat QPR 2-1. He's not really played much. He's had a few sub games, not scored a goal, but he's been part of a team that looked like they're going to win the championship, which is brilliant. And Gideon Zelalem was a substitute for Venlo as they beat Almira City 3-2, which is good. Julio, unpronounceable, didn't play for Mallorca, so I don't care. Callum Chambers missed the game with Burnley through injury. Tafari Moore is expected to be playing for some team. And Aaron Iomia, no one even know he exists. So cheers for George Bird for that. So it's arsenalyouth.wordpress.com. So go and have a look at that. And I think that's more than enough information that people are just going to fast forward through.
Did you see that Szczesny? There was a report last week that Szczesny's statistically the best goalkeeper in Europe this season.
Yeah.
Not if he was playing for us, he wouldn't be. He'd let in 9 at Reading. It's good, though. He's doing fun. Apparently, his attitude has changed. He's much more professional, and he's turning into a really good pro. And I think someone on the Football Hipster said that there's been links with him staying in Italy or possibly moving to one of the big German sides.
I suppose all those backhanders in Italian football would do that to you when you're making proper money.
Well, you never know.
He's just got a decent coach at long last. Do you know what I mean? He had to get away. Do you know what I mean? But he's probably got a decent coach now who actually knows a bit about goalkeeping. I mean, he was only going downwards. Like all keepers come to us, and they just fucking lose the plot, don't they? Do you know what I mean? It's like they're not. they're just not trained properly at the end of the day. I mean, I know Lord Hillwood goes on about this a lot, but he's so damn right. We just don't improve goalkeepers. Do you know what I mean?
I mean, look what they did to Petr Cech.
It's not like Lord Hillwood to labour a point over and over again. Every day.
Such is a top man, okay?
He fucking had it again. Fuck off, Davis.
Hello.
Hello.
Going on about Chesney now. No one.
That is interesting, I think, that... come on, can I talk over the top of you, mate?
Okay. I went to my brother's for a bath.
No, I was going to say it was interesting that Ivan was supposed to have briefed the supporters forum that very specifically Peyton was one of the coaches that was expected to be turned over if Arsene was to get a new deal. I'm just waiting for the sound of steam rising from Gav's set now.
Steve is
the word of new deal. I'll give him a deal.
So much needs to change. Go on, Gim.
Right, we'll start off tonight's show by trying to digest our 3-0 loss away to Crystal Palace. David, would you like to talk us through this one and what your thoughts were on the game?
Oh, don't leave it to me, for Christ's sake.
Gav? Anyone?
No, I will do. I titled my piece about it embarrassing and shameful, and that's what it was. From the Palace had the first chance, and luckily Cabaye mishit it. We had a couple of efforts. I seem to remember El Neni got a decent save out of Hennessy, but Palace got the lead with just a typical Route 1. Benteke bullied Gabriel. The ball fell down. They got a cross in from, I think it was Zaha on the right, wasn't it? And Townsend, of all people, with Mustafi backing away from him, had the... And it kind of set the tone for the game. It didn't get any better. And Mustafi found himself getting booked for a wild challenge on Townsend on the right-hand side because he was having to do a lot of covering for Hector Bellerin. And I'm really of the view now that Hector, it's clear that he's got a problem with that ankle that he injured because he's lost all of his pace, which was half of his game. And I don't see why now we're just playing another young player with an ankle problem, playing him until we've broken him. I would say to him now, go away and have whatever op it is you've got to have done on that ankle. And we'll play Debuchy or Coquelin or Jenkins, anyone at right back between now and the end of the season, because it's not going to make a huge amount of difference to the way that we're performing at the moment while we're playing him at half pace. Anyway, but I feel strongly about that. It was 2-0 when Giroud, I remember, got brought down in the box, didn't get the penalty after he was challenged by Sacco. They went straight down the other end. Who was it? Townsend, wasn't it? Threw himself over Martinez, who'd made a bit of a rash challenge, but he certainly bought the penalty. They got it, and then there was a third one, or was that the third goal, wasn't it?
Yeah, the penalty
yes,
was the third.
Cabaye got the second one, didn't he? So I'm getting myself confused here. Cabaye got the second. But it turned into a bit of a farce at the end, and you had ball went out for a throw-in into the Arsenal supporters in the Arthur Waite stand. And rather than chuck the ball back, they just got a complete and utter volley of "you're not fit to wear the shirt," which was, some people might be surprised to hear me say this, but I'm kind of pleased that happened, because for too long those players who have not been performing have been hiding beneath or behind Arsene Wenger's infamous unzipped coat, the same as the directors have been. They've hung him out to dry, and the man's got to take a good share of the blame. But it was good to see the players get a bit of stick as well, because their performance on Monday night, or their non-performance, was utterly unforgivable.
I did also... Sorry, Dave. I did also see at the final whistle, Bellerin went over to the away fans, and he got a chorus of boos, to which he walked away, and Oxlade-Chamberlain put his arm around him. What do you think of that situation? Do you think that that's healthy, that a player should be made to feel like that?
No, I did. I thought that was kind of, he was the player who they wouldn't chuck the ball back to. So he was him and Ozil, and I can't remember, there was a third player there who bore the brunt of the "you're not fit to wear the shirt," and actually it is aimed at all 11 of them. Quite frankly, there wasn't anyone who could say they played particularly well on the night. But yeah, when he came back to applaud, the fact that he got the closest to them was the reason I think he got the frustration, and I hope he understands that, because it was a little bit. It felt uncomfortable.
Yeah, sorry to butt in there. Like I say, I mean, I wasn't there, but I mean, from watching it, it kind of looked like a lot of the players were sort of shaking hands in the middle. Bellerin sort of come over, and then a lot of the players have just walked over to leave and not applaud the away fans. So to me, if I was there, my boos would have been aimed at the players who haven't come over to apologise.
Yeah.
And it was just that I think personally it was a bit of bad luck. Really, look, Bellerin got a bit of stick because he was the right back taking the throw in, and it was aimed at everybody. And B, I don't think that was particular boos were aimed at him. I think they were more aimed at the people that were walking away. Because, like I say, if you look at clips of it, as he's walking up, the rest of them are sort of like, fuck, going over there, and they're walking off. I think the boos were more aimed at, again, as the team and not him. And hopefully he knows that. Do you know what I mean? Because
yeah,
I think it's anybody targeting Bellerin is fucking bang out of order. Do you know what I mean?
The stuff after the game with all the people outside the coach shouting and being really horrendously abusive, horrible.
Good. They should have fucking put the windows through and fucking made seriously. I would have made the cunts fucking get on the fucking. Oh, don't! I would have made. Them
He's already got his non-swearing ban.
No, seriously.
There's the C-bomb.
Seriously, I would have made them. I would have made every single fucking one of them. Right, said right, get changed, give us your kit. Here's a fucking bus pass. Get on the fucking train with the supporters. Go home with them. You're no. Do you know what I mean? Like what used to happen with fucking. You see with Charlie George, when you hear Charlie George talk about it and said, you know, heaven forbid you have a bad game because you're getting on the bus or you're walking home with everybody. He said, and if you ain't put everything in, he said, they're going to bloody tell you. Well, the fucking mollycoddled, fucking prima donna millionaire cunts fucking wearing a shirt at the moment, they should be made to fucking walk home. I'd even make fucking, Wenger would need a fucking stab-proof vest to walk home, I reckon. Fucking idiot.
So apart from that, you're happy?
Oh, so seriously, I've been fucking fuming all week. Absolutely fucking fuming.
Let's not ask his Arsenal out of 10 score for this week, then, Donny? Did we actually operate
It's just like I say. I mean, David put everything so well there and summed up the game so well. And the players are fucking hiding because they don't want to play for Wenger. Well, fuck, if you don't want to play for Wenger, you pay for fucking us cunts that are paying you fucking wages.
Andrew, you're yet to speak on this. What did you make of the abuse of the players? And can you remember a time when the fans have turned on a whole team?
I mean, I've definitely been at the ground before when I've seen players being booed, like the whole team being booed at half-time or after losses. I remember when we were losing at Aston Villa, I think it was in December about 4 seasons ago. And the fans then, all the away fans were singing to Arsene Wenger, you don't know what you're doing, you're getting sacked in the morning. And it's been unsavoury then. And what I would say is, listen, obviously the booing of individual players is unsavoury. And as fans, you don't want to have to boo your players. You don't want to have to give them that, that tough love. But if you put into context, right, I mean, Arsenal, if you take away Sutton and Lincoln out of the recent results and you look at our 10 last games against, professional teams, Arsenal have lost 7 games. 7 games. That is disgraceful. That's relegation form. Theo Walcott came out and he said himself, Crystal Palace players wanted it more than us. I mean, that's ludicrous. So, as Gav says, these lads are all millionaires. For a few boos from the Arsenal players and a few choruses of, you're not fit to wear the shirt. If you put that into perspective, and that was, say, in Italy at Lazio, the fans would be at the training ground the next morning at 6, rioting. And I don't just mean a couple of lads dressed up as, Wenger and Sanchez. I mean hundreds of the ultras would be there, rioting, smashing in their cars. Saw how the PSG fans reacted when the Parisian players came back from Barcelona the other night. They were waiting for them at the airport, going absolutely wild. And I don't get me wrong, I don't condone that behaviour. but it just puts into perspective how, there needs to be a vehicle to allow fans to express displeasure. Otherwise, the players are never going to feel that. And to be fair, in essence, the fans are right. There are a lot of players who don't deserve to wear the shirt right now, and they certainly don't deserve the money that's being poured into their bank accounts every week. And so, spare me slightly. I remember when Lazio, the fans were protesting in the sense that the ultras made the stadium sit in absolute silence for 2 games. And if Lazio scored and any fan tried to celebrate, they'd get clumped around the ear roll. So I don't think it's, as bad as people are making out. Yes, it's not ideal. And, it's not how fans don't want to be sat there swearing and booing at their own players. They want to be, enjoying performances. But the players need to realise that, as the guys before me have said, this is absolutely disgraceful the way they're playing right now. Maybe it's because they're not playing, they don't want to play for Arsenal anymore. Maybe it's because they're just in a confidence loop. And obviously booing doesn't help that, don't get me wrong, but it's not good enough. And the players need to feel that frustration from the fans, and they need to wake up and realise it's the fans they play for. So, yeah, that's what I feel.
And Danny, where do you think it's gone so wrong? Can you pinpoint a time or a place or a reason or a person?
I can pinpoint the exact moment. It was 2006 when he took Perez off. That's when the entire Arsenal thing started to collapse. So for me, from that moment on, I'd have sacked Wenger after the Champions League final. I'd have sacked him after the League Cup final the next year. I'd have sacked him after the Birmingham final. I'd have sacked him after the 6-0 Chelsea, the 8-2 Man United. I'd have sacked him every other week by now. He'd be sick of me. He'd have my phone number on block. He'd be so sick of me sacking him. The players have finally got around to seeing the way that the fans are feeling at the moment. Like, everybody knows that some of the players are trying their heart out, and it really made me feel sad for my current favourite player at the club would be Sanchez, but you can't just pick the greatest one. Is the Ox, 2-footed, full of spunk, as our Australian comrades would say, and they were booing him. And then as soon as they booed him, he did that wonderful bit that he put with his right foot, he tapped it behind him, and then went off with his left foot and went running like that. I thought, well, that's one way to shut them up. But you can't just boo the entire team. There's some of those players there that are playing really hard. The goalkeeper, is it Martinez?
Martinez.
Emiliano
Martinez.
Yeah, I'm thinking of the other bloke. Yeah, Martinez. It's only his 6th ever Premier League game. He's kept 3 clean sheets in the 6 games that he's played. And without him the other night, we'd have maybe conceded 6 or 7 goals against a team like Crystal Palace. But I did say on the last podcast, if you want to rewind and go and have a look, I said they've won 4 out of their last 5 games, including beating Chelsea at Chelsea. You can't take Crystal Palace for granted. People say, oh, we're Arsenal, we're far too good for the likes of Tony Pulis or Sam Allardyce. Was damn fucking right sure that if either of those two came into our club, there would be discipline. We wouldn't be letting in 4 goals here, 5 goals there. We wouldn't let 5 goals in 3 consecutive matches against Bayern Munich. We may be down to 10 men, but he'd get a few ankle breakers in there. He'd get the likes of Hillier in there, letting you know that it's just how does Hillier always refer to it?
Let them know you're there.
Let them know you're there. And too many things like that are going on. There's too many players. Why the hell, if we're going to play against Crystal Palace, you know that they're going to be up for it. They're going to have big lumps. They're going to be playing Allardyce football where you're not going to get past them. So what do? We play Welbeck up front, who has now gone 300 consecutive Premier League minutes and not scored a single goal. Not because he's shit, but because maybe he's not completely match ready. He should be playing maybe for the under-23s, coming on as an impact sub. That game was all set up perfectly for Giroud to play up front. Mesut Ozil shouldn't have been anywhere near that game. It should have been playing 3 in the middle. And I know sometimes when I mentioned it on Twitter, people have said, yeah, but when we played the Ox when we lost some of the big games this season, Mesut wasn't even playing. But I like the passion that the Ox has through the middle. The Ox will go wide left, wide right. He will drop deeper. He will play in the 10. He will go and play up front. He will be all over the place, and he will be an absolute nightmare. But then you think if you don't want to play Giroud in a game like that, you play someone like Sanchez up front. And now if you went and put up to the bookies and went Sanchez up front for Arsenal, playing as the number 9 of everybody feeding him, what odds would you give me on him going 300 minutes without scoring a fucking goal? They'd have you put in a straitjacket and told to leave the building, because that would not happen. Sanchez, against those teams that we have played lately, Sanchez, I mean, just look at it, against Palace, West Ham, Man City and West Brom. If Sanchez would have played up front for the whole of those games the whole time, how many goals would he have got against them lot? 4, 5, 6? West Ham is shit. Man City can't defend. West Brom, we just shit the bed and they beat us on set pieces. And it's poor old Sanchez. He's running down the left-hand side, trying to cut in the whole time. And then people are giving shit to Monreal. Monreal at the moment is playing, like I said on the radio show, he's playing left back, left wing back, left midfield, and left wing. He's doing all of that lot. And then 71% of our play was down the I think it was 71 or 72% in the first half was all down the left-hand side because we were doing nothing down the right-hand side. Now, I think maybe that was a tactic by Wenger because we know Bellerin's carrying an injury. And like David was saying, Bellerin shouldn't play for the rest of the season because they've said that he's going to have an operation at the end of the season. He's lost at least a yard or so. I mean, he's lost a bit of passion. He's gone full Last Samurai, and he isn't the player that we want. And if you can't, that we want him to be, and if he can't play to 100% of his ability, then why are we playing it? We could make the injury worse. And we've got Debuchy, and we've got even Jenkinson down on playing, who can play down at right back.
And let me in, for fuck's sakes.
Oh no, the bastard!
How are you even doing this?
On what? Just bits on WhatsApp. Yes. So the gist of it is, the players are letting Wenger down. The players are letting each other down. It's like the Brian Clough thing. You not only let me down, you let... No, that's the wrong accent, isn't it? It sounds Scottish. But that thing where you're letting yourself...
That's not Scottish, Danny. That's Yorkshire.
Same bloody thing. They're all northern monkeys. But it's just that they're all letting each other down. And now I think that it's got to the point where the players are going, well, hold on. Why is Sanchez, the most feared striker in the Premier League, playing on the left wing game after game after game? Why is Mesut Ozil allowed to fuck off and go, yeah, I'm fucking off back to Germany, going to get myself some schnitzel? I'm not even sure what type. That might even be a type of animal for all I fucking know. It's what?
Racist.
No, I'm the German flower pot. I'm allowed to say whatever I want. And how does that make the players feel when Ozil will go, I'm not really up to it, I don't fancy it, I'm going to fuck off for 2 weeks. Oh, I'm going to be away for another 3 weeks because allegedly he doesn't want to play until his contract stuff is sorted out. And then they go, oh, by the way, Mesut's back. Come in, Mesut. There you go. Have your place. There you go. Just stand there for 89 minutes and do fuck all, and then do 1 minute of, oh, maybe I'll do a little bit here. And I'm one of Mesut's biggest fans. I think the bloke is absolutely immense when he wants to be, but he just doesn't want to be. He's just going through the motions at the moment. And just so many things in the whole team are just wrong. And it's now all coming to a climax where if Wenger does sign a new contract the next season, fuck, at least to look on the bright side, we can move back to Highbury because they're going to burn the fucking Emirates down if this shit continues.
Do you think they're trying to sugarcoat all this by the media reporting that we might have offered Alexis Sanchez a £300,000 a week deal, David?
You're on mute, David.
You're right, I am. I shouldn't be trusted with this stuff, you know.
Oh, Gimli's been doing this for 5 years and he still can't fucking get it right.
It's only because I got unmute headphones that I'm still not unmute the whole time.
Yeah. Good stuff. No, in answer to that question, my honest opinion is that if they have made that offer, and I trust James Ollie as a source, then I think they have made it on the basis that they know he won't accept it, because I don't think they want to pay anybody anywhere near that amount of money. And it kind of, for me, raises a bigger point. If a team like Tottenham, who aren't paying anybody more than there's probably 2 players there earning £100,000 and the rest are on considerably less. If they can perform the way that they are this season, and I know that's going to upset a lot of people, and I'm sorry about that, but then I agree that we shouldn't be kind of making offers of that kind. If the guy doesn't want to stay, if he'll only stay for that type of money, then his heart's not in it. Let's get some cash in for him and get someone in who'll do a better job.
They're hanging him out to dry, mate. They're fucking hanging him out to dry. Right? I'm not believing one single fucking story about Alexis right now. Alexis is the only one who consistently gives it all on the pitch, right? And they're saying, oh, he's disruptive in training, and he didn't start against Liverpool because he walked out of training the day before, and they keep leaking these stories. The reason why Alexis ain't staying is because he knows the game's up. He knows he's playing for a fucking idiot who don't know what he's fucking doing anymore, right? And you could offer the geezer £500,000 fucking quid a week. He ain't going to stay because he wants to win trophies. Alexis ain't a money grabber. He ain't motivated about money. He's motivated about winning trophies. You see the performances he puts in for his national team. Do you know what I mean? He literally, do you know what I mean? He could break his leg, right? And he'll still turn out for Chile the fucking next week. Do you know what I mean? He wants to play every game. He sulks when he's not playing against, away at Saturn. You could see him. He was just gagging to get on the pitch. He just loves playing football and he loves winning. He's the closest that we've seen from, for like another Ian Wright. He's just got that bug. He just wants to play football. He wants to win. He wants to play with winners. And he's playing with a bunch of fucking idiots at the moment. And he's managed by a fellow who ain't got a bloody clue. He ain't got a bloody clue about how to play decent world-class players. And that's why the press, through the club, are leaking out these fucking stories. Leaking out these little stories that he's disruptive and this, that and the other. It's bollocks, mate. Do you know what I mean? There's only one reason why he's going. It's because he don't want to play for Wenger anymore. Because he knows, mate. He knows in his head, the game's up. He ain't going to win fuck all that ours.
Andrew?
Yeah, I mean, I'd say to the original question there to David, there is, I think, an element of smoke and mirrors around this £300,000 a week. I mean, firstly, the actual figure of 300,000 isn't what we would necessarily pay his salary. That includes his image rights. So, for example, how it works now, I mean, if you look at the James Lowry report, it's kind of saying, well, he's currently on 130 grand a week and he'll be jumping up to 300. I mean, from my understanding, and, don't get me wrong, I'm not putting this out as gospel, but actually Alexis already at the minute earns closer to 190 grand a week if you include the image rights, which is what they're doing in that 300. And the club would also actually make money back from the image rights. So it's not just a pure net loss for the club in the sense that if they sold him, that they'd make money back from the image rights, which I think is something we saw quite interesting in the summer when Man U had to buy the image rights of Mourinho from Chelsea. And I think Man U obviously put a huge amount of image rights into Wayne Rooney's contract, and they've made about 7 or 8 million back off that alone. So it's a little bit smoke and mirrors in that sense. It's not as though they're jumping him up from 130 to 300. Obviously, there is still, a good 100 grand a week increase for him in his pay packet, but it's not the kind of figures that, they're trying to make out. And secondly, as Dave also alluded to, he said, I think Dave, can't remember wrong, you're saying the club don't want to have to pay that, and it is a bit of, hoping he's not going to take it. And it reminds me of, and I think, Danny, where you were saying, where did it all go wrong earlier? Where's it all been wrong? Well, I know you said it was when we brought Perez off, but for me, the moment that things really changed under Wenger is the summer we sold Fabregas and Nasri, and we had that supermarket sweep, right at the end. And that summer we'd been linked with, properly replacing them with the likes of Juan Mata, Mario Götze at the time, and Hazard. And we were rumoured to have put in a very big bid for Götze that summer. And I remember Raphael Honigstein came out when he was the Guardian, and he basically said, listen, this is smoke and mirrors. Arsenal may have put this bid in there, but they know it's never going to be accepted. They want to be seen by their fans to be putting in a £30 million plus bid. And it's also good for Dortmund, who are happy to be seen to be rejecting it. So do I think that the club have form in this kind of, PR stuff? I do. If Sanchez stays, it'd be brilliant. However, as Dave said, I think they're gambling on the fact that, he won't. And as Gav says, I think they are potentially, from a PR perspective, looking to hang him out to dry. And it's all become slightly unsavoury. But for me, that moment when we lost Fabregas and we lost Nasri and we replaced them, with Ben Ayoun, Park, Santos, those players. And then, we lost 8-2 that summer. Again, that's the reason Van Persie left the season after. We didn't replace Van Persie. The next summer we needed a holding midfielder. We brought back Flamini. We needed a centre forward. We recalled Bentner from loan. The summer after, we went into the season with only 2 centre backs, and then we ended up having to play Chambers, who was a brand new kid, never played there before. Halfway through the season, we're having to play him right back and put in Debussy centre back because we ruined his confidence. The next summer, we didn't buy a single outfield player. We're the only player in Europe. So, this whole talk about bringing in a director of football and Wenger being arsy about it, spare me. He's proven time and time again he can't handle the transfer market. He just simply doesn't understand modern football economics. And it's not just a case of bad results. We're also ruining players. We're ruining young players now because of it. We've got our top players want to leave all over again. This isn't the first time we've seen 2 top players threatening to leave in the summer. And, I think Wenger's proven before that he's not capable of replacing 2 world-class players or 2 top players if they want to leave in one summer. So he needs some more guidance at the top. And it's very depressing right now.
He's never been able to.
Look at all the Almunia years. We've gone from Seaman and Lehmann, who are definite 9 out of 10 goalkeepers, to 3 or 4 seasons of Almunia, who at best was maybe a 6, on his peak maybe a 7, but usually a 5 or a 6.
The thing is, going back to what Andrew was so clearly saying there, I mean, Wenger's never been good in the transfer market. I mean, you could literally go back to the minute that they kicked out David Dean. It's all gone completely fucking wrong there. I mean, do you think if Wenger was in charge of transfers, we would ever sign Sol Campbell? Not a fucking chance. Do you know what I mean? There's not a chance in the fucking world that transfer would have happened if it was left to Wenger.
And then we get mugged off on transfers, don't we? Look, when Cesc went to and when Henry went to Barcelona, Cesc went for what, 28 million? He was a 40 million pound player, and I can fucking guarantee you that if Sanchez leaves, if we were buying Sanchez now, they'd want 80 million. If he leaves, we're not going to get much more than 40, 50 million for him at the very most. And how many times have Barcelona nicked our players and gone, oh, by the way, we'll pay you £5 now and £2 a week for the rest of the time?
Although Danny, I'll stop you there. They paid £30 million for Song. I think we did them with that one.
No, I think they paid 16 for Song, but yeah,
I thought they paid 30. I don't know where I got it.
Well, we was in Europe back then. Do you know what I mean? It was probably 30 million euros, which is now worth about £4.
Gim, what's your thoughts, Neil? Because it is an important point, Gimli, and I'd like to know what, because you don't really, you just send there and ask the questions like a proper host. So go on, dig deep.
I think, to be honest with you, it's truly sad. I watched the fans scream at the players on Monday night, and I was sad to see them shouting at the players, whether it was deserved or not. It's to get to that point where you have to do that is it's not nice, is it? In terms of Arsene Wenger, I think we might well, to answer one of my own questions that I've got written down here, I think we might well be witnessing the same revolt as we did with Chelsea and Mourinho last year. As much as for what he's done for the club, I think he deserves respect and utmost admiration.
I think we all agree that he deserves respect, but he's not going the right way about getting it, is he?
I'm not going to stand there and F&C and cuss the bloke, because I do genuinely think at one point in time he was the absolute pinnacle of his career and the game. He was superb in every way, shape or form. But unfortunately, I think, sometimes to watch things grow, you must cut ties and move on and just have a different approach at things. Maybe even if it's just to freshen things up a bit, where even that's in the coaching staff, in the playing staff, and most of all the manager. But I think something has to change. But I do think it's toxic from top to bottom. It needs a complete change, and the people that are there now have to be cut completely from the club. There can be no say. Arsene Wenger cannot. For me, he's reached the point where he can't just be chucked upstairs. He has to go. He has to go for us to move on as a football club.
But look at the number of, not that I'm describing these people of worms, but how many the worms have turned. FK was the first one to turn. He, partway through last season, listen to Chris on this week's radio show. Chris was immense for the beginning of it. The amount of passion that I saw from the last time I saw that much passion is when he got those silk sheets installed and he had the red dye stuck through his hair. And when you got passionate people like FK and Chris that are lovely people, that when they've gone, right, that's it, this is fucking bullshit, and this I've had enough. And then there's only our mate Jeff, who is still, and even Jeff, as a few pods ago, even Jeff said something negative about Wenger. We never thought we'd see the day that would happen.
Fuck up.
What's going on?
Thank you for not adding me to the list, Danny. But yeah, I'll put my head out there to be shot at.
No, that's what I was going to ask. Is there anybody here who has decided this season that this is his final season? David, what do you reckon? I mean, is this the season where you've gone, this has to be his last season? This is
that season that I've said it. I hinted that the end of last season, that if we didn't achieve something that could be deemed as improving, then maybe the time was the end of last season. But when we ended up second, because our friends Spursed it up, then you can't really argue that that's an improvement, even though we're a long way behind Leicester. But this season, we're obviously not going to improve. The only light at the end of the tunnel is a potential cup final. But do you really want to play Chelsea or Tottenham in the cup final? Well, yes, I do, because I want that remote hope that we're going to beat them and absolutely shake them to their bloody boots. But we were talking earlier about the Tuesday Club. They were saying yesterday that losing to Manchester City would be a mercy killing.
That's true.
Danny, I think the one thing you've got to look at as well is just write in the notes for this podcast tonight and bullet
crayon.
point. Yeah, in crayon with my mouth. I'm seeing stats that like this is the first time Arsenal have done this or that, and none of this not good stats that they're coming up with. It's the fourth time we've lost like 3 goals away from home. Do you know what I mean?
It's not time. Good. I mean, that's the first time we've lost 5 away Premier League games or top league games in a row.
We should be doing the first time since 1921 for somewhat positive, not fucking negative. And I think that's the thing. Fife, I know you've got to say something, so come in.
Yeah, no, so yeah, just come back to Dave's point. I mean, for me, the time when it's changed was last season. Last season for me was an absolute disgrace. And you know, from the start, I mean, not from start to finish, but, you know, I was on a podcast with Dave and you guys. It would have been this time. It would have been about November last season. I remember I was on there with Dave. I can't remember who the other guy was. I think it might have been Mark King. And it was about November time, maybe around the time of, it might have been actually after the AGM. But I remember then we were saying, listen, by November, it became very apparent that all of Arsenal's, you know, kind of our orthodox rivals for the league had fallen away. Man United were nowhere to be seen. Chelsea were in absolute self-destruct. Liverpool had hired a new manager. They just brought in Klopp, and so they were going through changes. I mean, Man City were all over the place, what with Guardiola announcing he was going to be there next year. The players didn't want to play for Pellegrini. And I said then, listen, this is by far our best chance to win the league. And if we don't win the league this season, it's a failure. And that wasn't me trying to put too much pressure and trying to be too adamant to get... But that was the first time it became abundantly clear. And then we went through the month. It was either October or November. We didn't win a single game at home. A single game in the league. We got that loss at Southampton away. Then we barely, Ozil's form in the second half of last season was a disgrace. Giroud went for months without scoring. Sanchez, it was not. And then last season, that game against Man U, it was a fucking shit show. And Wenger came out and defended the team, and it was, to me, it's abundantly clear that last season was probably the biggest failure as Arsene Wenger, biggest season of failure under Arsene Wenger's management, in my opinion. And this idea for me that coming second was progress. I think actually, and if you listen to some neutral commentators, people who don't support Arsenal or Spurs, look at people like Luke Moore, for example, from the Football Ramble. When we came second, there were Arsenal fans claiming that as some kind of success story, and that we'd progressed. We came third the season before, second this season, that we came ahead of Spurs. But the reality is, we came behind Leicester. And don't get me wrong, looking end from Leicester, they had a good, very good season, but we had no rivals for the title by November. We fucking ballsed it up. We're the only team in history to balls up a one-horse race. We were beating our chests about how we came further than Spurs, or higher than Spurs. Spurs were actually in contention for the league to a later point than us. They just managed to blow it up horrendously with 3 or 4 games to go. They still had a better season than us in that sense. So we were beating our chests. We were beside ourselves with excitement. But that only masked the real issues there. And Spurs went on, had a very calm, subtle summer. And look at them now. And again, we did the same thing. We took it for granted. We fucked up in the summer. We didn't buy players when we needed to. We ended up having to overpay for Mustafi, and we brought in Perez, who Wenger clearly doesn't rate. And that was only after we lost 3 or 4 games again in August. So we started again, that 4-0 loss or 4-1 loss at home to Liverpool. And it's just the same old story. And it's been like that for some time. And don't get me wrong. Listen, I think that fans need to have an element of perspective. And I do see there are fans who are out there who are now, complaining that we're not going to get top 4 and complaining that we're coming behind Spurs. And some of those guys, used to laugh at others for seeing that as an achievement. So I get that. And I we need to have that perspective. But I also think there's perspective that guys who are now unhappy, should I say, at other fans for being pissed off that we're behind Spurs, used to make out it was this massive achievement. And so we should see that if that was...
Oh, Mr. Fife's dropped his call.
He's gone.
Oh, dear.
I was enjoying that.
He's got angry and unplugged himself.
Oh, okay.
He's
Bring
trying
him back. I just wonder. Well, can I just? Well, he can catch up on this later.
Yeah.
You can tell him that I've argued something against him. We did not lose 4 games in August. We lost the opening day of the season to Liverpool, and then went unbeaten for 19 matches. I'm taking his point about last season that we didn't do as well as we should have done. We didn't challenge for as long as we should have done. But the other thing I'd say is to totally discount Leicester's title is to detract from them unfairly, because if you'd said to me in August of 2015 that we will take the title off a team that only loses 3 games all season, I'd have laughed at you. There was no way that was ever going to happen. They were deserving champions.
Oh yeah, I agree with that. Yeah. Solid.
I agree too, but I don't think Leicester really had anybody up and putting the pressure on them. Whether or not that would have made a difference or not, who knows? But I just don't, like I say, we just weren't anywhere near them all the time. All right, we turned them over twice, right?
Oh, weren't we top at Christmas or something? But as usual, we ballsed it up in the second half of the season.
Well, so I'm talking the business end. I mean, we ain't been in with a shout at the business end for the best part of 10 years now. Right, really in with a shout. Do you know what I mean?
We've talked about 2008, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. See, I mean, again, going with Gimli, I've seen stats with the last time we were top in March or April. I think you've got to go back 10 years. Do you know what I mean? So that's what I mean by being in with a shout at the business end. We haven't been in the shout at the business end. We've had great finishes to seasons. Do you know what I mean? We've pulled in runs at the end, but we pulled in runs when the pressure's off. Do you know what I mean? Maybe if we were, not so far behind Leicester, maybe their asses would have gone a little bit. Do you know what I mean? But I do agree with you. I mean, Leicester, to go through the whole year only losing 3 games is phenomenal.
There's a point.
Go
on, Gimli.
I was going to say to pretty much to all of you here, there is one critical question, and it's: do you think that Arsene Wenger has lost the dressing room?
Yes. Pass.
David?
It's an interesting one. It's one of those opinion questions, isn't it? Because none of us really know. The evidence is that probably yes, but I don't know.
Gav?
As one of my friends said the other day, not only has he lost the dressing room, he won't be able to find it with a sat-nav. Do you know what I mean? He's lost it. He hasn't even. Do you know what I mean?
He's only lost part. He's never going to lose the likes of Theo or the Ox or Bellerin or the ones that like those youth ones. But the ones that really matter are the ones like Sanchez and Ozil. They're the ones that are going to drive the team forward.
I disagree, mate. I completely disagree.
You think it's everyone?
No. I just disagree with what you said, mate. No, the problem is, as I alluded to earlier, right? Some players have got some professional pride, right? Alexis has got some professional pride, right? You put out Alexis in a reserve match on a Tuesday night behind closed doors, and he'll give you exactly the same performance as he does every game for the first team, right? And it's the same with Oxlade-Chamberlain. He's got that little spark in his eye, and he just wants to do well, and he wants to play football, right? Other players like Walcott need a fucking big kick up their fucking backside or a lovely little cuddle, right, before they get on the pitch for them to do well. Do you know what I mean? And Wenger, he don't know which player to cuddle or which player to kick up the arse. Do you know what I mean? He's just not controlling the dressing room. He's not controlling their mentality. Do you know what I mean? And he's just treating, obviously different players have different mentalities and want to be treated differently. And do you know what I mean? Ian Wright needed that bit of aggression before he went on the pitch. Patrick Vieira needed a little bit of a cuddle and calm down. Do you know what I mean? And Wenger just does not know.
Bloody hell. Fife's on a hovercraft.
Wenger he just don't know. He just don't know how to treat the players, and he don't know how to get the best out of the players. And like I say, it's just frustrating because if you look at our team and you think, with a decent manager, would we do better? That's how you've got to look at it. If all these players were playing to their potential, would we be getting better results?
Fucking, we'd win the league.
Well, exactly, because
I'd agree with that.
we've got a good squad there. I mean, you look
best
at our
squad. I think it's the best squad, man for man, position for position, that we've had in the last decade.
Yeah,
So many of us said that in that 19-match run.
Yeah. Do you know what I mean? But he's just not getting the best out of them. He's just nowhere near getting the best out of them. So I think it's wrong to blame any player for how they're actually playing at the moment.
Apart from Snowgo.
But like, fucking hell. Do you know what I mean? I honestly hope one of Wenger, whatever you want to pronounce it.
Oh, you were slated on the Tuesday Club. People who can't say Wenger properly, they weren't happy with you.
They can fuck off as well. Right? But do you know what I mean? It's fucking... Oh, don't. It's...
Oh, Fife's gone again.
It's just...
Oh, no, he's back.
It's... Like I say, you just got... You know, I mean, I've managed a team of 30, 40 people in a competitive sales office, and you've got to deal with different egos, and look, the high performers are the ones that are going to go out and get pissed and chuck a load of fucking gear up their nose at fucking lunchtime, and they're going to go out on a fucking Thursday after they've been paid, and you probably won't see them the Friday. And you've got the consistent people that are going to need a little bit of a kick, get them a little bit angry to get more out of them, and you've got the low performing people that you've got to give a cuddle and you've got to encourage to do better. And Wenger he ain't got a fucking clue about shit like that. He has not got a clue, and it's the high performance players that are the ones that are standing out. Do you know what I mean? Like Alexis, and I mean,
he don't go out and chuck a load of stuff up his nose at lunchtime, does he?
Fuck knows. He plays like he does. Do you know what I mean? I mean, why? I mean, I understand. Ox has had a bit of an injury, but right now he would be the first name that I'd put on the team sheet, and I'll play him slap bang in the middle, and I wouldn't give a fuck who was dropped. Do you know what I mean? And like I say, if you want to play Ozil, you've got to give him lots of cuddles. Do you know what I mean? You've got to make sure that he's had his nice cup of fucking...
Foot rub.
Yeah, nice foot rub. Do you know what I mean? You've got to massage his ego a little bit, tell him how good he is all the time. Do you know what I mean?
Rub his goggly eyes.
I've managed people like that. Do you know what I mean? It's exactly, but, you've got to know that, as you said earlier, Dan, you've got to know the games that it's pointless playing him at. Do you know what I mean? And you've got to appreciate that when you're playing a player like Ozil, he is a luxury player. He ain't a Dennis Bergkamp that's going to slot back in and act like another central midfielder. He's a luxury player.
Gimli, ask Fife the question that you were asking us, because he's been busy shouting abuse at his laptop.
Okay, Andrew, quick question: Do you think that Arsene Wenger has lost the dressing room?
Yeah, I do actually. Yeah, I think that there's certainly an element that the players aren't responding to him. I think we played well for the first 45 minutes against Bayern Munich at home, and it seemed like that they were able to rouse it then. But apart from that, I don't think we've played good football. Maybe the second half against Man City, you could say. But apart from those two halves of football, we've not played well once since Chelsea at home back in the middle of September. And I do think there's players who just simply don't listen or aren't motivated to play for him.
Do you think
Southampton away in the FA Cup?
I mean, is that playing for Wenger? I mean, there's a lot of young players there proving their point. Yes, I mean, unless you mean about the quality of the football, Dave. I think we played some okay, decent enough football, yeah. But it wasn't, rip roar. I mean, the Chelsea game was something different. That was a completely spectacular performance where we were very much at the top of our game against very good opponents. And, you saw Mustafi and Koscielny and the way they just completely man-marked Costa out the game with pure professionalism. And then you look at Mustafi now and, he's just a litany of errors. He's a cacophony of errors. He's, so many times. I mean, I sit down not too far from you, Dave, and I watch Mustafi. He's the nearest centre-back to me. So many times he runs to the ball like an under-9 footballer who's chasing the ball and not reading the game, and he doesn't realise that intelligent footballers and midfielders, tagging midfielders, number 9s, number 10s, just see the space behind him and make him look silly. And you know, but he hasn't learned. He's not developed of anything. He's regressing, and we got so many players who don't, you know, who years ago, if we had 2 or 3 bad results, someone like Vieira would have got the team by the scruff of the neck and said, right, we're going to change now. And you had 5 or 6 leaders in that team which would have turned it around. And you know, if not for the manager, for themselves. But we've got players now who don't even seem to be playing for themselves. There's no self-respect, no self-motivation. Ozil's been missing since, you know, September. And you can say October, to be fair, but you could say Ozil, you know, last year he was good in the first half of the season in 2015. Then in the second half of the season he was poor. You know, this season he had a couple of good months at the start of the season, but since then he's been poor. This is a World Cup winning player who, you know, the most expensive player in the history of the club, who's been Germany, you know, Germany's nominated best player, I think 5 times out of the last 6 years. And yet he goes missing for 4 or 5 months at a time. Aaron Ramsey gets given so many opportunities, and every time he comes back, he plays like absolute dog shite. Monreal's just faded into nothingness again this season. You know, this isn't right. These players shouldn't be playing like this. Giroud doesn't seem that motivated. Walcott shows glimpses of quality, and he scores against in the big games, but then goes missing for 3 or 4 at a time. It's just simply not right, and they're not treating. You know, they're not acting with the professionalism that they should do from and what you expect.
So,
and they should.
To highlight that, Andrew, sorry, one of the biggest ones that I've seen has actually been Mustafi.
Yeah, I think Mustafi's been very poor in recent weeks.
First 19 games, he's absolutely fantastic.
Yeah, you're right. And since then, he's been a liability. And if anything, I'd say we need to try and get Mertesacker back into the team as soon as possible and steady the ship in that defence. And don't get me wrong, I think Mustafi's got potential long term, but at the minute he's just a headless chicken, and he's costing us points. He's costing us goals. He's just completely out of position all the time.
Is there anybody that wants to come in on that?
No, I think I agree with everything that's been said. Sorry about Mr. Fife's audio, but he's had to go from laptop to laptop. There's not much we can do about it apart from set fire to the pair of them. I think he's going to try and plug in a headset at the moment because a lot of background noise there. But I think that the one thing that can sum this up, one stat that can sum it up, is Wenger's record home and away against the top 6 or top 5 or 4 Premier League teams. That sums it up. Season after season, even the last decade, 12 years, he's had such a shit record against it. And like I've said a few times, if you change all the players, change all the backroom staff, you change the kit, the tea lady, the stadium, the sponsors, everything, and it still keeps happening. There's got to be one common denominator, and that is Wenger, sadly. And like David said in his last blog, that Wenger should leave his head held high. That should be the way to go, but I don't think he will. I think that the first thing that Kroenke looks for is the bank statement. He doesn't look for the result and go, oh, how did we get on today? He just goes, how much money did we make today? Probably doesn't even know what the result was. Probably doesn't care as long as he's making money. And I think that's abundantly clear over the years with the amount of money that he's willing to invest. And he knows, well, I would assume that he knows as soon as if he does get a new manager, if it's going to be someone the likes of Allegri or the Carlo Ancelotti or a big name who has a proven track record at being world class, then they're not going to come in and say, here's 50 million quid. If he wants to get someone in like the bloke at Bournemouth or someone like that, then they probably would come in and say 60 million, that's more than enough. But a top-name manager is going to want big wages and is going to want a massive, I don't like using the term war chest, they want a massive transfer fund, and they want to be guaranteed that they can ship out the players that aren't doing the job, and that isn't going to happen. That long-term, for one season, if you want to get rid of 5 or 6 of our players, other teams aren't going to want them, so you're going to have to take a loss on them. Maybe even in a situation where some of our players, like Man City used to regularly get rid of players, and they'd still be playing half of their wages 3 seasons later. We might even end up being in a situation like that, and I bet Stan looks at it and goes, why am I going to do that? We're still making money. I could be completely wrong because I don't know the bloke.
I was going to say, now I understand why Jason butted in on you. You can't, I'm not having that you can say that we need to wholesale get rid of players 5 minutes after we've all agreed. We thought 3 months ago we had the best squad we've had for a long time.
Let me explain that. If the man
I just think that, and also, if you want Allegri, then you lose Arsene, and you've got £8 million a year, 8 million reasons a year why Allegri would come here in a heartbeat.
I hope he would.
That's double. I think that's double what he's earning at the moment.
Yeah, Absolutely.
But my point was, if a new manager comes in, then they don't want to be stuck with a load of players that they might not want. So that would have to be part of the agreement that I want to get rid of X number of players. I mean, I like Theo Walcott. I like Sanchez. I mean, some of these players that the new manager might not want. And he doesn't want to go. He doesn't want to be in the situation of, well, you must sell these players for this amount of money before you can get rid of them, because they don't want to do that.
Then that's the thing, mate. If a manager comes in, right, a manager's going to come in and he's going to have the formation and the system the club want to play in his head. And then he's going to look at the playing staff and then he's going to think, right, I'm going to have Alexis up top. Which, if I get Alexis up top, I'm playing 4-4. Well, just for pure basics, I'm playing 4-4-2. I need a left winger. So he's going to have to go out and buy a left winger.
Yeah, but I mean, my point is...
I'm only playing 2 in the middle, so I don't need Ozil, so I can sell Ozil.
Yeah, but my point is, the better the manager, the more requirements he's going to have for more money for transfers, and the more he wants to get rid of some of the squad. Personally,
how much did Chelsea spend?
Well, not much, because that annoyed him, didn't it?
You look at Chelsea last year, completely underperforming, didn't want to play for the manager.
Then he was moaning that he couldn't get the players in the summer that he wanted.
Yeah, exactly. And we turned them over first game of the season, and he thought, sod this, I'm Italian fella, I'm going to do what I know. I'm going to play the 3-4-3 or whatever it is the Chelsea play, right? And I'm going to adapt it with the players that I've got. And he adapted a couple of players, probably gave them extra training.
Yeah, like Moses playing him as right wing back.
Exactly, right? And he's done that. I mean, he's had Fabregas on the bench for most of the season. Fabregas would walk into our fucking midfield on his cock.
He certainly would. But I would hope that if a new manager comes in, they would look at our squad and go, well, fuck me, that's brilliant. I need 1 or 2 players, then I'll motivate the rest to do what they need to do. That would be hopefully the situation, because I do think
that's where we are. That is where we are. I mean, we've got a mixture of age, we've got a mixture of experience, we've got World Cup fucking winners.
Yeah, and players that can cover in many different positions. We've got a hell of a squad. Yeah. So I'm worried that if someone does want to come in, they're going to want too much. That the Stan will go, nah, stick with Wenger.
We've got 5 centre backs. Well, 6. We've got hold on, 1.
Callum comes back at 6.
Yeah, exactly. 6 centre backs. If we got a new manager in who wanted to play 3 centre backs, we've got them. We've got them already, and like I say, you can't say without decent training that any of our centre backs are that fucking ropey. Even Gabriel does a job.
But Mustafi, Gav, first 19 games of the season, we were all laughing that Mustafi was an absolute steal at £35 million, and now people are saying they wouldn't pay £3.5 million for him. Where's the fucking reasoning? How can a player be that good at the start and now be that shit now? There has to be some kind of fucking reason.
I don't, like I say, I'm not on his back. I really, really try not to get on any player's backs. Do you know what I mean? I really, really try. Do you know what I mean? But like I say, it's only like the idiots like Haleb and Diaby that really have fucked me off, and Sonogo and idiots like that over the years, right? But do you know what I mean? It's just simply, when I look at how we defend, I think, what the fuck is Steve Bold doing?
Crying.
That's all I think.
To sleep at night. That's what he's fucking doing.
That's all I think. Is he just allowed to put the fucking cones out? Do you know what I mean? Because that ain't my Stevie Bold at the moment, mate. That ain't the Stevie Bold that fucking put his head in, right, where it fucking hurts for fucking many, many years for us.
2 goals against Sampdoria.
That ain't the Stevie Bold that fucking saved Hillier from a kicking from like a dozen fucking England rugby players. Do you know what I mean? That ain't Stevie Bold. So God knows what's happened. Do you know what I mean? Is it? I just don't understand. Stevie Bold was trained and disciplined under George Graham, mate. George Graham, he got that back for right. He bought four players. He bought 3 players, bought them well, trained them well, disciplined them well, right? Can you imagine Wenger letting Steve? I mean, I remember when Stevie Bold first took over from Pat Rice. I think we got something like, I think we let in 1 goal in the first 4 games. And everyone's saying what a good job Baldy's doing, and Baldy's sort of the defence at the last, blah, 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 right? And after that, after he started getting praise, suddenly it started going downhill. So you have to wonder whether Bold's actually allowed to do anything. Do you know what I mean? You really have to wonder whether he's actually allowed to train the defence, because I don't believe that Steve Bold would train the defence that fucking badly for how defence has been playing.
It's. I think we should also talk about the fans and the protests and where we stand on that. I mean, since I've been on the show, we saw the actual fans turn on Arsenal Fan TV. I'd like to also get your thoughts on that just quickly. I know we've only got another 25 minutes left, so we'll do a brief bit over that. But Gav, we'll stick with you. What do you think of the fans turning on Arsenal Fan TV and the main feeling amongst the fan base?
I honestly have no comment whatsoever to do with them idiots.
Okay. Andrew?
Sorry, I was just looking at, have you guys seen the scenes in Lyon? The game versus Besiktas is said to be, is currently on hold because there's hundreds and hundreds of fans have run on the pitch fighting each other.
That's because the top tier of Besiktas fans were throwing stuff down on top of the Lyon fans.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's not good. Especially after the diabolical scenes by alleged Leicester fans yesterday, which was horrendous.
That weren't diabolical. They were just going out and having a piss up.
Yeah, well, I don't like it. I don't think they should do that. It makes us all look like twats.
I'm on that Leicester thing. I'm like I say, the only interesting article I read on that was by a fellow at the BBC and said literally the police started it, which is pretty common when you're abroad. Do you know what I mean? And like I say, good on them for singing fucking Gibraltar's Ours. Gibraltar is ours.
Oh, more controversy. Oh, fucking hell. Let me find the question, for fuck's sake. David.
I'm looking through the questions now. Just I forgot to get them.
Okay, we'll finish off with David and the last question. Of course, David, there's still a lot of uncertainty around Arsene Wenger and if he will sign a new contract. And I just want your thoughts on the implications on the fan base if he did sign a new contract. What do you think would be the feeling amongst the fan base and where would they go from there? Of course, you know, it's obvious to a lot of us that he's lost a large majority of the fans. And surely 2 more years would only serve to incense more people. So, I mean, where do you see it going?
It's quite evident that things would continue as they are now. With every bad performance, there would be a raise in the atmosphere, the discontent being shown towards the team, towards him. The atmosphere at the ground would continue to worsen. And that worries me far more than anything else, quite frankly, because take, for instance, the last match of this season. I've got a couple of grandkids who I always take once a season, and I'm taking them to the Everton game, or that's the plan at the moment. I've got the tickets sorted out, but we're not telling them. I hope they're not. No, they won't be listening to this, but we're not telling them yet because we'll be making a decision beforehand if Arsene is still in situ and things have gone badly again for the rest of the season. We'll make a decision probably not to bring them. So it's going to be...
That's sad.
You know,
So no, it's funny David says that because I was speaking to someone earlier this week and I think they do listen to the podcast. But they were saying that they took their boy to a match, and last time they took him to a match, it was so toxic with fans shouting and the swearing and everything like that his boy was in tears. He said he actually has got a ticket for Man City in the cup, but he said he's actually debating whether to take him, and if he does, and it's the same kind of atmosphere, he doubts that he'll lose his son as an Arsenal fan. Which is sad, as Gav says. It's sad because that's the next generation. That's you know, that's where you the bloodline of Arsenal fans is. Everyone has a story of why they become a fan, or the first match that they watched, or how they even got there. And if that dies, then we're just a stadium full of plastics when the die out, aren't they?
Mm-hmm.
Which they wouldn't necessarily be too disappointed about, because what they want is a stadium full of people who are going to go into the club shop beforehand and spend a fortune. They want people who are going to pay the stupid prices for the piss poor food and drink in the stadium. It's don't get me started on that, because I would not be me. Let's put it that way.
I was talking about this with a girl on Twitter the other day. She's a fellow silver member like me, and we was discussing, you know, how silver members have been treated over the semi-final tickets, and she said she's been every single game this year on her silver. And I went, yeah. I said, you're the kind of supporter the club doesn't want anymore. I said, the club wants to get rid of silver members and have a free-for-all every game for the remaining 10,000 or whatever tickets they are. Because they want, you know, they would rather have a different bum on the seat every single game. And as you said, David, a different little family going into the shop beforehand and eating the food and behaving themselves and this, that and the other. And it's, like I say, it's not just Wenger that is the problem. It's how the club treat loyal supporters. Because, I mean, to be a silver member right now, you must have been paying to be a member of the club for at least 12 years.
I'm one as well, Gav.
Do you know what I mean? And it's,
Absolutely.
you know, like I say, I mean, possibly like yourself. I mean, I was a silver member before it was actually called silver membership. I was on the old ticket
registration scheme.
Whereas at that point, it cost you 20 quid a year. And every home game, you got £1 off your ticket. So if your seat was 24 quid, you got it for 23 quid. Or if you was unlucky and you put in for it, because like I say, what we used to do is send them a blank cheque. We'd send them a blank cheque for every home game. And then they would fill in the cheque for whether we had the cheap tickets in the corner of the North Bank or we was moved to the outside sort of thing. But now, what was it last year? Was it 59 quid for silver membership?
I think it was, yeah. If you take the membership pack, it was something like that.
Yeah,
it's like it's another match.
Yeah, and it's just ridiculous. Whereas that, you know, they were begging for people to take TRS up when it first come out, ticket registration scheme. But like I say, I think that's another matter. That's another debate. I do apologise.
Yeah,
Well,
and you'll
so
be on
that-
again, Gav.
Well, I'd say on that one, and what concerns me, and I think you're right there, Gav. I mean, I'm not sure 100% sure on the technical area where you're talking about, you know, how they don't want silver fans, but I know what you mean in terms of the club don't have a long-term strategy, and they're not trying. And as Dave says, they're not thinking about developing relationships with fans. They're not thinking about developing that loyalty. And what really concerns me is now, if you look at the average age of a season ticket holder at Arsenal, and I know I'm really lucky here, but the average season ticket holder is in their late 40s, early 50s, people who, you know, are very financially comfortable, you know, and perhaps, you know, obviously that these guys aren't, perhaps, you know, maybe I'm wrong, are probably less likely to create as much noise as younger fans. But the thing is, a lot of, I mean, you guys perhaps, and a lot of fans who are now in their 50s, they could get into Highbury when it was 4 pence, you know, and you got your Bovril for a pence. And fans used to be able to get in, but now you look at it, and we've got the junior gunner section, and I think the junior gunners is really good. They've got, you know, many £10 tickets. It's got a good area for people up to the age of 18 to go in with their parents. But the problem for me is what happens when people become 18 and they turn to and they actually, you know, people who are junior gunners who could go to every single game, they're not given silver memberships. I mean, there was this Cannon Club, but now they go to red memberships, and they have to start paying list price. And what I mean, one thing I have been kind of debating on Twitter this week, and what I have said is, I'm kind of resigned to the fact that we're going to be in the UEFA Cup or the Europa League next season. And, you know, obviously it's not great to be going and seeing, you know, you like to Hajduk split instead of Barcelona, but I really want the club to make a positive story out of this. And because I remember a few years ago, Spurs played Lazio at home and they charged 40 quid a ticket and the ground was half empty. And that, I think, would be embarrassing for Arsenal if, you know, as it stands in your season tickets, you know, you have your 19 Premier League home games and then 7 cup games on top. And those cup games, as most people know, are either between FA Cup and Champions League. And the Champions League is one A category game, which I think for the most expensive A category ticket in non-club level is £126. Now, can you imagine if they tried to charge £126 for a home game against Karabakh or Nantes or you know, Wolfsburg? It's just not going to fly. And so I hope the club don't try and be greedy. I hope the club are concerned about that, we have this whole generations of fans, guys between 18 and 25, for example. A lot of these guys, they have no ties, they don't have wives, they don't have kids. This is the time of their life when they can really put the effort into supporting Arsenal, but they don't have that disposable income. A lot of these guys are at university, at college. Some of them are in entry-level jobs, some of them are in graduate jobs, paying up to 25k max. How can you afford it?
Learning trades.
How can you afford, a £1.5 season ticket? Yes, you haven't got the kind of ties like kids and wives that would hold you back and cost money, but you haven't got the disposable income. So let's make the UEFA Cup games on a Thursday night akin to the League Cup game. So you have your £10 ticket and your £20 ticket. Let's get these fans in there. Let's start making a positive about how we reward young fans, because long term, if we don't look at the breeding, the long term loyalty with these fans, we're not going to have them as our future season ticket holders in 20 years time. And the club are now in a very lucky position that the people who have season tickets used to get in cheap young, so that they grew that love and loyalty for Arsenal in their peak years. But we risk alienating an entire generation of fans, I feel. But I do think this, out of kind of the birth of a quagmire, the birth of hell, we can create a positive story. I think we can create a positive story here if we do charge. Let's not be greedy. Let's walk away from the temptation of greed, which I know is hard for the board at Arsenal. If we make £10 tickets available for the UEFA Cup, I think we draw in that crowd again. I think that could be a positive, and that's what I'd like to see. But I do agree with what you guys are saying. It's felt for too long now that the club has, neglected the loyalty and love of the fans. They've treated it into so much of a business that, when things have gone wrong, that as they are recently, how can they expect people to not be so pissed off and react the way they are? The amount that fans have taken and the amount of shit fans have taken over the years and just accepted and got on with, and if it's all very much George Orwell 1984, but and there is a bit of bite back, and they're going to have to expect. And I think the club's now going to have to start doing more to ensure the long-term loyalty and love from the younger generations.
Yeah, bang on there, mate. Bang on. I say, just to briefly go back, the junior gunner and what Arsenal do for the junior gunners should be commended, right? If every single football club in the world isn't copying how they do it, they're fucking idiots. Because the junior gunner is run so well. I was a junior gunner myself, and my two kids are junior gunners. My little girl recently went the Easter junior gunner thing up at the ground. They had a fella there called Mr. Maker who's on the telly, who done a couple of acts, and they had loads there, face painting, balloon modelling, for caricatures, and the events that the junior gunners put on is well worth the membership. The zoo day they do at the zoo in Broxbourne every summer is absolutely top notch. It is top class. If any company wants to see how to put on a corporate event for kids and parents, they should go there, because it is an absolute top-notch day. It's absolutely brilliant, and all the junior gunner events are brilliant. But like I say, the problem is the junior gunners, once they've finished being a junior gunner and they've done the Cannon Club, they then go on the waiting list to be a silver member. Now, as opposed to every junior gunner or every Cannon Club automatically getting silver, they now go onto the list from the date that they originally were a junior gunner. So, for example, my little girl has been a junior. She's 5. She's been she's 5 in June. She's been a junior gunner since literally about 2 days after her birth, right? So she'll go onto the waiting list to be a silver member, along with an adult red member who signed up 5 years ago. Yeah. But like I say, it's one in, one out, and you can't update every junior gunner and every Cannon Club member to silver, because literally there just won't be any tickets left. There'll be too many people going for too few tickets. But something should be done. Something like up the age of the Cannon Club, up the age for the junior and the cheaper tickets till they're 22, 23, like some other clubs do. That's what they should be doing. Anyway, go on.
Right. I think what we've got left then is listener questions in it, Danny. Jesus. Just tell him to fuck off.
Don't start with him, because you know he's going to get angry. What if he's got he's got another reply? Oh, there was more, I think. Oh, he's a bad man.
He's angry.
Oh, he's Welsh Justice. That's what he is.
There's mountain fire. I can see a mountain fire from my bedroom window. Literally, I think it's him.
He said now that he's met you, he's taken your DNA and fingerprints, and he's setting you up for a fall. It's going to be badger baiting.
Well, no,
I don't know why I said badger baiting. I meant that thing with.
What he's done is he's cloned me and he wants to bum me. That's what it is.
Will it be loving? There'll be candles.
He'd hug me after.
Disguise yourself as a sheep.
He does kind of strike me as the person that would give a good hug afterwards.
Oh, yes. Right, we've only got 10 minutes to go because I wasn't organised. I've been at my brother's, so finally got some questions.
Having a bath?
Certainly. Well, it might be the last bath I've ever had to have there. I've been there 3 years because of fucking Cambridgeshire Council.
You're not planning on bathing any time in the future then, or?
No, I'm getting my bathroom done. It's costing me about 1,500 quid. I'm getting a couple of dirty Tottenham fans to do it.
I can see you coming.
Well,
on bricks.
I'm getting a corner bath jacuzzi jobby. No, Gav, you can't come round without swimming trunks on.
One of them jacuzzis.
You send them my way. Mine cost $6,500.
Your bathroom?
Yeah.
Well, mine's just a big hole in the floor, and they're going to all get straws and blow bubbles at me.
It's like a sheep dip. That's what it is.
I got them to do the rest of the bathroom. That did cost a bit. Have they gone with hay flooring? No, they're just dirt.
I suppose that'd get caught in your spokes, wouldn't it?
Oh, spokey dokies.
Spokey dokey.
They don't make the noise unless you do it properly. Right, what I'm going to do, if no one has any problems with it. Oh, what? No. Yes.
I know you're acting like a cunt.
Oh, he's fucking gone full day, interrupting twat. Right.
Oh.
I've got one question each. This one will be to Gimli first. Who will make more appearances this season? Guna Gimli for ABW or Sonogo for the first team?
Oh, no, it's going to be me because I'm back now. So I'm back now. I have proper Sky internet.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's vastly going to get better from here on in.
Well, it couldn't really get any worse, could it?
No, definitely not.
Right. Who's friendly with the people at the Gunners pub? They've got a question.
I am.
Oh, then you can have this one as well. It says, the Gunners pub. Do you know the landlords of your favourite matchday pub? And are they into modern football? And are they Wenger in or Wenger out?
I couldn't tell you if they're Wenger in or Wenger out, but that's Una and Andy, isn't it?
I have no idea.
It is Una and Andy, yeah.
I was speaking to her only on Twitter just today, and she wished Kate a hello, didn't she, Kate?
What's the dog called?
Oh, fuck
Ted.
Ted, that's it.
Ted.
Oh, see, we do know.
You waved to him earlier, didn't you?
Yeah, he's my mate, is Ted.
Oh, right, as we've got you, David. One from Bobby. Check your booty.
Can we mention any other pubs then?
You certainly can. We're a friend to all pubs and all podcasts.
And pie shops.
It's a bloody shame that the Wigs closed down, the Wig and Gowns closed down.
Yeah.
And I know from a few other publicans, especially my friend Pete at the George, he's not really a fan of modern football because, like all businesses around the area, they do, some of them depend on the income from football, and obviously a 3:00 Saturday kickoff is a lot better than a 12:00 Sunday kickoff. So the impression I get from him is really we just need more 3:00 Saturday games, which obviously if we're in the fucking Tin Pot Cup next year, we probably won't have any Saturday games.
Oh, that's the future of it, isn't it? The future of pubs and the future of football. It's all gone to shit.
Yeah, against modern pub closures, I am. Anyway, go on. Next question.
Question for David from Bobby Check Your Booty. He says, how do we get rid of Coquelin and actually get a functional defensive midfielder? And then he follows that up with, now potentially that Man City and wants Sanchez, would you do a straight swap for Aguero?
Oh, that's a double header, isn't it?
Certainly.
The simple answer to the first part, yeah, I understand entirely about people's frustrations with Coquelin this season. He does seem to have gone backwards a bit. The simple answer to that is you sell him during the transfer window and you buy someone better.
Well, sell him or give him away? Do you reckon we could get much for him?
Well, hang on a minute. There is another option. You could perhaps loan him out again. I don't see the point in that. He did a great job when he came back from Charlton, and we had nobody else because Rositzky was injured, Arteta was injured, the world and his dog was injured, and we were grateful for the way he came back and put himself about. But no, it's just not happening for him at the moment. So yeah, he's one possibly I would get rid of. And we need to get some big, nasty, physical athlete in the centre of that midfield. You look at the other club. Look at the clubs that are doing well, and they're kind of built on the model of Arsenal 1998.
Shame we're not.
Well, we've kind of followed the pattern, and we tried to play like France when France was successful, which was then we tried to play like Barca when they were successful. Of late we've been trying to play like Germany when they're successful, but the best team I've seen in the Wenger era was that 1998 side, because they would just bully everybody out of every game. They're
That's
fantastic.
my favourite side. Vieira and Petit in the middle, giving no fucks.
Absolutely. And what was the second part?
Would you swap Sanchez for Aguero if he has to go to Man City?
Oh, should I upset Gav again? Yes, I would. I absolutely would. But the only reservation I'd have about that is the fact that Aguero seems to be hamstrung, and probably you won't get more than 25 games a season out of him. But I think he'll score you 25 goals in those 25 games.
I think that's right. As you've mentioned, Gav, we shall wheel him in full strutter. And there's a question from our very own Carl, and there is an answer for it. I'll give you the answer and then you give me yours. He says, if, in brackets, when Wenger stays, what are the positives, in brackets, if any, for the club going forward? And our friend Noma has put, he will, and there are none. Prepare for more of the same, if not worse. What's your reply, Gav?
What, positive if he stays?
Yeah.
I'm positive it won't cost me any money for a couple of years in ticket prices.
There you go. Always finding the positive. That's our Gav. I'm
positive the pubs up there will be busier on a match day whilst the game's being on. I just can't see it. I can't see. I just can't see it. I just can't see him turning it around.
To be fair, that's not really the question to ask you, is it, Gav?
No, I mean it's just. Like I say, I've been, 6 years ago I was, ridiculed, abused for saying that, it's time for him to go. And like I say, I haven't seen much improvement over that time. Yeah, the two FA Cups were brilliant, even though we, like I say, one was literally the drawer opened up and handed onto us on a plate. Do you know what I mean? But I just can't see it. I just can't see any way that he can. He won't change. He's too stubborn to change. He needs to literally wholesale change how he's doing it, who he's surrounding himself with, the type of players that he's buying, the formations, the way he manages a game, and he can't do it. It wouldn't be the world-class manager that we had for the first 10 years, of him being at ours, if he wasn't so fucking stubborn. And that's the thing. He's just so stubborn and stuck in his ways, which was how he was originally so successful, but it's also led to his complete and utter failure for how we are right now. So as opposed to any positives with Wenger, here's another positive. If you go on Twitter and Wenger stays, you'll be able to get the season ticket for next year, because there'll be a lot of people putting their season tickets up for rent. A lot more than people that are at the moment.
And this isn't. If people are new and haven't heard Gav very often, he's one of the six that started up this podcast, and he used to join us for the Steve's Bald Collective, which is what we did before this. It was someone else's podcast, and if you go back to November, December 2012, I think it was, Gav, you were saying exactly the same things then, weren't you?
I don't think I haven't changed my tune. Do you know what I mean? I mean, I wrote an article. I was asked to ask an opposing article for the Mail before the whole game, saying should Arsene Wenger get a new contract, and obviously I was opposed to it then and said no, hopefully please this time we win a trophy, and he bows out gracefully and he bows out with some pride and some dignity.
You mean the whole FA Cup final in 2014?
Yeah. And the fella that wrote the opposing one was the fella from the AST, Akil.
Oh, right, yes, he does. Guna Ramble.
Yeah. And he wrote the opposing one saying how brilliant Wenger is and how he should, have a job for life and blah, blah, blah. So it's nice to see Akil change his mind very recently.
He did a very good piece with they were all live drinking Peroni. Mr. Fife, did you have a question for anyone here, or were you joking?
Yeah, no, I wanted to know what your views on, because I know you're asking about how do we solve the Coquelin issue.
Yeah. Well, I just think it's quite simple. Coquelin is a player who is there to get the ball off you and give it to somebody else. And when you're not asking him to do that, he doesn't play well.
Fucking fault. Francis fucking Coquelin. Vieira. Fuck. Oh, your Vieira's a fucking donkey. That can't get...
Sorry, mate.
Fucking Davies, I don't know. Right, as I've got you
sat
here,
behind me or something.
It's spooky. It's like he's here. A question for you, Mr. Fife, from Rich Beckers. He says, "How can we force the silent Stan out of the club? Surely there is a way." Hashtag tell me there is a way. And then he's put also, is a £300,000 Sanchez offer real, or yet more war chest PR rubbish leaked by the club? So you can answer either or either of those or both.
I mean, maybe we could take someone he loves dearly hostage and hold him to ransom. I mean, I could think of many masochistic ways if you'd like, but the saddest answer of all actually is that we can't just force him out. He needs to be bought out. I mean, I think the points we made a few times on here. Stan Kroenke doesn't give a fuck what fans think, and I don't even mean that in a particularly harsh way. He's a ruthless businessman. He's a guy. I think when he bought over a vineyard, a very lucrative and well-known brand of wine in America, and he literally poured out over 1,000 bottles of expensive wine because they weren't to his liking. This guy has moved the St. Louis Rams to LA, and he's basically said "fuck you" to the local politicians, the governor, the fans. He doesn't care about anyone.
8 hours away. You moved them 8 hours away.
And you saw, Gav, right? They had the fans of the St. Louis Rams had a TV advert during prime time during the Super Bowl, and it didn't unnerve him. He's not going to bow down to fans. And fans, we've got a lot of rich fans, but we're not going to be able to put together, the £2 billion it'll probably take to buy him out. The only way he is leaving is if he sees, a very significant return on his shares. And also, as I said before, there's more to it than just that. I think by having Arsenal shares and Arsenal being such a cash-rich business, in so much as now, whilst we do have, £200 million worth of debt, if you look at the amount of cash we have in the bank, we're actually pretty much net debt-free, which therefore gives him far more. He's more liquid. It gives him more leverage when he goes to take out debt and finance stuff. So the value of Arsenal to him is enormous, and he's a man worth $6 billion. But that, the leverage from Arsenal helps him massively. So, a few placards, a few signs, a few songs about his wigs, whilst it is good to get your opinion out there, and hopefully we can start to change policy at the club on a day-to-day level. And, you can see this is making right noises around Jerry Payton, around Director of Football. Stan Kroenke is not going to go anywhere because a few fans have, sung some songs or made their feelings clear with banners in the ground. And that's not me trying to piss on the fire of any of the guys who are really passionate and trying to do something about it. But it's just the cold reality of it, and you're up against a guy who's in a completely different ball game here. He's not someone like Arsene Wenger who can be fired. The only way to get rid of him is to buy his shares out.
The scary thing is the flip side of that. The scary thing is Usmanov decides to sell up and join his mate at Everton, because the minute, in fact, I would fucking have money on this. Look, within a week of Kroenke being able to buy Usmanov out and take the club completely out of, I don't know the technical words, you probably know, Andrew. The minute he manages to have over 96% of the club, and he can take it off the stockholders list or whatever, the shareholders list. Right, the minute he does that, then he's going to start putting on loans against the value of the club. The minute he does that, you can guarantee. And the minute he does that, and the minute he gets to that part of control, will be the 3 million that he nicked the other year for services that the club can't tell anybody about. That will be fucking peanuts to the amount of money he'll take out of the club. Absolutely. Yeah, and we'll never know. We'll never know the club finances anymore. Never know.
Yeah. So what? Yeah, kind of what you're referring to there is when Usmanov or Yves Usmanov sells up his shares and Kroenke buys them out, that basically will delist Arsenal. They'll no longer be public, and because they're no longer public, you don't need the same obligations of transparency. You don't have shareholders. You don't have to have the AGM. If you don't have the AGM, you don't have to report your financials. If you don't report your financials, you can get away with doing a lot more. And that's kind of in fitting with Kroenke's model. Kroenke's businesses are based in the state of Delaware, which is basically a state in the States where you can get away with very much, opaque accounting, shall I say.
Who's got the contract for the catering at Arsenal?
Probably Wenger.
No, I forget the name.
Northwest, isn't it? Does sandwiches.
Yeah.
Delaware North.
Delaware, yeah. That's it, Delaware North.
Yeah. Odd that, isn't it?
Yeah. But yeah, so Delaware is the state in America where Kroenke and many hedge funds and many billionaires put their accounts, because it means basically in Delaware as an accountant, they have their own jurisdictions to not have to state stuff like that. And so he does have, previous in this kind of, taking businesses out of the public scrutiny. Obviously the AST and other groups were able to lobby significantly against the £3 million this year, because it was such, it was reported in the annual financial report. So if that isn't this, he can get away with a lot more, as you say, Gav. So that's something we do have to be a bit cautious about.
Usmanov and I can't remember his partner's name off the top of my head.
Monsieur, yeah.
Haven't they sponsored Everton's training ground for about 60 million quid a year?
Yeah, so Monsieur, so his business partner is now actually a major shareholder at Everton. Usmanov isn't officially a shareholder, and he can't be because he has more than 10% shares in Arsenal, although I'm sure obviously he's probably influencing in the background. But there is, a concern that Usmanov may take his money to Everton with his partner and Red and White Holdings, can change their name to Blue and White probably. But yeah, there is that there. And there is certain Usmanov now has definite links to Everton. And we've seen that, they've done things there, like they've already reduced season ticket prices. They're looking at investing in the team. So they could be what Arsenal gave up in a way, or they could become that.
Right. Yeah. We need to move this on because we've gone a little bit over the hour and a half. Thank you to Chris Laudato and Pat Rainsford for questions we couldn't get around to. And Billy AFC got half of a question from him that we can ask. For everybody, I'll start with Gimli. How much money do you think Arsenal will spend this summer?
100 million.
Oh, that's my answer exactly. 100 million-ish, give or take. Mr. Hollick, have you got an answer to that?
Let me say it'll be 100 million plus any money raised for the players who are leaving.
Gav?
They might as well spend fuck all if Wenger's spending it.
Well,
they might as well. They might
argue he's consistent.
Honestly, they might as well, if they're giving 50 million to Wenger or 100 million for Wenger to spend in the summer, right? they'd be better off, right, and get more love and get more entertainment out of it if they just took that money off the ticket prices than fucking spending them on players. Because it don't matter who he fucking buys. He could buy fucking Messi and Ronaldo. He'll play them fucking left and right back, the fucking moron.
Oh, bless him. Mr. Fife, what do you reckon?
Is this how much we'll spend in the summer?
Yeah.
I mean, if we get the UEFA Cup, it's going to be so much harder to attract the world-class players that cost that kind of money. There's no guarantee he's going to spend the money. We didn't buy a single outfield player 2 summers ago. So, honestly, your guess is as good as mine.
Well, there you go. Only like Gimli, just got to do predictions and then a gentleman's nod and we're done.
Yes, it is. And the predictions are for Middlesbrough away. And Danny, we'll start with you.
I'm going to go 2-0 Welbeck, only because Middlesbrough are dog shit. They won't have Chambers. And Welbeck is, the infinite number of monkeys and the infinite number of typewriters. Eventually, Welbeck is going to score. So I'm going to pick Welbeck.
Okie dokie. I'm going to go 2-0 Ozil. Gav?
We'll probably lose 1-0, and it'll probably be an own goal by fucking whoever. Do you know what I mean? It don't matter. Do you know what I mean? Because we're gonna get they'll probably fly up to Middlesbrough. Do you know what I mean? They'll get out all in their comfy fucking pajama tracksuits, right? They won't turn up in their suits and ties like they fucking should do, right? Before the game, Wenger will sit them down. He'll play some nice, calming, wow music. Make sure everybody's nice and peaceful. And then they'll send them out and wonder why Middlesbrough are fucking coming straight at us. Fuck them. Fuck them. Just seriously. Do you know what I mean? The best thing that could happen at Middlesbrough is fucking don't have Wenger there, mate. He should have been fucking sacked last week. Seriously, I would fucking, honestly, this should have been one of the questions tonight. Would you sack Wenger straight away now? And the answer would be fucking yes. Fucking sack him. Right, get him out of the club, right? Then we've got between now and next fucking June when we probably start with the fucking UEFA fucking Cup if we manage to bloody get that far, right? But like I say, we'd have between now and June or now to the end of the season to get another manager lined up. Do you know what I mean? All this bollocks waiting for the end of the season and no contract. Fuck that, just sack him. Fucking sack him. Do you know what I mean? Get Bold in charge.
Yeah, do you ever think that maybe you should just say what you think rather than holding back so much?
It was only supposed to be a prediction.
Honestly, I know you was only asking for a prediction. My prediction is fucking sack him. Get him out the fucking club.
And what I mean? What does Jason think about this?
Love pie. All pie.
Jason loves pie. Yes, Gimli, back to you.
I was going to say, for someone that was going to go the whole podcast without an F-bomb or a C-bomb, you've done remarkably well, Gav.
Did you believe me, mate?
No.
You know what I mean?
Not for a second.
Exactly.
So we think Gav is Wenger out, I think.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah.
You can't accuse him of having splinters anyway. David?
Oh, please don't ask me. 1-0 to Arsenal, because I can't see us winning by any other scoreline at the moment, and I'll never predict us to lose or draw. Goal scorer, let it be. Who's going to take the penalties? Alexis.
Okie dokie. Andrew?
You can see a nil. You can see us getting a nil. You can see us, I've forgotten the fella's name, the ref that we've got against Borough.
Yeah.
I think he's not.
It's Andy Taylor.
Not the most Arsenal.
It's Andy Taylor, and the fourth official is Kevin Friend. There couldn't be a much worse pairing for an Arsenal match.
Might as well get Dele Alli and Harry Kane to referee it. Come on, Fife. What's yours?
I'm going to go 1-0 Arsenal as well. I'll go Sanchez.
And the listeners at home and on the tractor. Ooh.
Sorry?
The listeners at home and in the taxi or driving the tractor. No Uber drivers, though. We don't like those.
No.
Yes.
Shout outs then. I'm going to start and go with it's not an app because it's not someone on Twitter. It's someone I found out listens to the podcast this week through a friend, and his name is Jason Senchal. And he won't be expecting this shout out, but it's always nice to reach out. And he's from the tech team at EE in Merthyr Tydfil. So, Jason, thank you very much for listening every week. And I hope you enjoy your shout out. Danny.
Well, that's a good question. I'm never sure who to say hello to. I think what I'm going to do, they're both on Twitter, and I don't know their Twitter handles, but it's two of Sean's friends. They're the Potato. They're the Potato Twins. They're both Russian, and they both got faces like potatoes with smiles drawn on them. They know who they are, and they liked my thing. Have you seen my thing where I sent Sean a WhatsApp of me shaking my face and looking sad with Lonely playing in the background because she's been away for 11 days. Have you seen that?
Are we talking the cheeky girls here?
No, it's Comrade Potato 1 and Comrade Potato 2. So yeah, Gimli, go and have a look at my Sean's timeline.
I will.
It's brilliant.
These ain't special friends that you have round.
No, they're Sean's friends. They're both 18 or 19.
By the hour now that you've got the house to yourself.
Potato.
Yeah, I don't know their names, do I?
Comrade Potato.
You got Turnip, you got Moomin, you got Moomin Troll, and I can't remember their bloody names, so I just call them what they look like. So.
You sound like John Welsh now. I don't know their names.
I just give them 50 quid and they go.
No, they're Sean's friends. They're her age. They're young ladies.
Of course they are. Of course they are, Dan.
Doesn't stop John Welsh.
No, if you live next door, there'll be mashed potato everywhere.
Danny, there's some twins around here. A right ugly pair of bastards. I've nicknamed them the Chemical Brothers because they look like they came from Chernobyl.
Jesus. I've milked that one, haven't I? Get on with it.
You have. Gav.
I would like to, even though he won't be listening, but those who are on Twitter, please follow my friend Dan and his mates. They do what's called Operation Arsenal Art every year in the summer. This year they're doing a do at Pinebury Corner, which will be loads and loads of old photos and new photos and photos of people as kids and all sorts. But we all get together. They put a lot of hard work into it. He is at OPAA 2016, and it's just a really, really nice event. Proper Arsenal, proper old pictures. Everybody meets, has a few beers, has a pie, look at the pictures, talk about, old Arsenal events and old Arsenal stories, which is, again, it's the best thing about Arsenal is just
living in the past.
Swapping. No, it's not. It's not living in the past.
It is. That's where I'm happiest.
It's swapping stories.
I don't like the new stuff.
It's swapping stories, whether we were good or bad, and whether or not some idiot booked a minibus to take us to fucking Cardiff, and the minibus didn't turn up, and we all had to drive there. And it's stupid stories like that. Look, and look, just make it what it is. And there's
I remember that day you were talking about the FA Cup about 1980, isn't you?
No. The FA Cup, oh, blimey. It was 0-0 at Ninian Park.
Yeah.
It weren't 1980. It was, but I bloody ordered the minibus, right? And I ordered it from a very, very well-known high-profile hire company. And it just so happened that the depot that was nearest was King's Cross, which didn't work at weekends. So we was all stood outside my mate's flat.
Can I give my shout out, please?
Round the back no, fuck off, Jason. Round the back of Highbury Barn, and we had no minibus. So I successfully sued them for the day, for the day's damages. Because, like I say, one of my mates had to go all the way back to Kent to get his car to drive three fellas. The fellow whose house we had, he took his car, and another fellow that drove there who was planning on drinking took his car. But it was, like I say, even, blimey, I'm trying to think how long ago it was now. Must be 6, 7, 8 years ago.
Oh, right. Oh, I know the game.
But I still get stick from my mates for the day I ordered a minibus and it didn't fucking turn up.
He's carpentered that, hasn't he?
Fucking hell. You could have just said hello to someone and then got on with it.
Well, I mean, let's leave it on a light note because we've been talking about that fucking prick who should be sacked all night.
Oh, for fuck's sake, Gimli.
Jesus,
Jason's not happy, Gimli. He wants you to get on with it.
Oh, I will then. Andrew?
My shout, I guess, has to be for Jason Davis, who I didn't realise was so omnipresent and godlike. But no, he's been ubiquitous tonight, and it's been a pleasure to have him on the pod as always.
Like a bad smell.
Oh, David?
I wanted to keep it light-hearted, but in this of all weeks, I can't. And it's not anyone on Twitter. It's for Borussia Dortmund, who, after what happened to their team coach on, was it Tuesday, to be asked to play again less than 24 hours later, just because we couldn't afford, UEFA didn't want to lose the television money in the week to not upset the sponsors. Not a thought was given to what happened to those players on that coach and how long they would need to recover.
They were told by text as well, weren't they? Weren't even consulted.
Paul, did you see Nuri Sahin after the game as well?
Yeah.
Just what an interview that was.
And Thomas Tuchel.
Yeah, definitely.
Tommy Tickles.
Here, David. Here.
And a few of us at ABW are actually Dortmund fans. There's Drew and Chris and me that I know of that have been Dortmund fans for years. So
2 club wankers.
Shut your face. No, I'm an Arsenal supporter. I'm a fan of other clubs.
You see, as well, the Dortmund fans offering up their free accommodation, I think, to the Monaco fans that night, which was good.
And the Monaco fans singing Dortmund is really nice as touch as well. Shows that football isn't all nastiness and people not leaving.
It's shit like that that brings us together as football fans, not drives us further apart.
You're very right.
So that pretty much concludes the podcast this week then. All that's really left is to thank my guests. Not unless...
He's not happy.
Oh, he's such a cunt.
Yes.
Right, Danny,
That's
is
my
there
mate
anything...
you're talking about.
it might be your mate. Danny, is there anything that we've dropped this week, like any blogs or anything?
Well, I was talking to Jeff about this today, and he said it's really hard for the bloggers at the moment because in such a time of when it's just shittiness, just horrible. And it's really hard to try and write a blog when things like this. So things should be getting back on track. But the last blog that was done, oh, bloody... Move it, you turd. Oh, God, the internet is so small, so slow. And the last one was by Simon. I think it was by Simon. Why Arsenal should go all out for Monchi. I thought that said Munchies, but it's not. And that was by Simon, and that was a couple of weeks ago.
Dan.
Yes. Oh.
Just got to say that David's last blog was spot on. One of the best reads I've had in ages.
It made him sad having to write it. Go on, publicise that, David.
You're not right. No need
No,
to
go on,
publicise
David.
it.
Give us something to...
Well, I kind of liken these days at the moment to days of Muhammad Ali when he came back for a third time and he had that fight with Larry Holmes, which was an absolutely absurd piece of matchmaking because you had a guy who had reportedly been past fit by a dodgy organisation, despite the fact that he later admitted that he had tremors in his hands, all kinds of things, his slurred speech. And he basically got battered for 10 rounds before Angelo Dundee finally threw in the towel. And even after that, the silly bugger came back and fought Trevor Berbick and got battered for 10 rounds in that. And I'm sure those two fights did nothing for his health in later life. And Arsene, I know Gav is passionate about getting him out now, tomorrow. I actually want Arsene to go out with a degree of dignity and with a degree of success, ideally with an FA Cup final win against Tottenham behind him, because I think we owe the man so much for his first 10 years. In fact, I would argue longer than 10 years, but let's not go there. But I think at the moment, every defeat, every big defeat that he takes and all of the punishment that he's taking mentally, I think that may be part of the problem. And the players, of course, after 20 years, there's nothing new he can tell them. So that was kind of the gist of the story. It does sadden me to say it, but I am definitely on the other side of the fence now.
Wow. Big admissions made this evening from all.
Really good read.
Yeah, definitely so. Go and give it a read, people. So that does conclude this week's podcast, and all that's left is to thank my wonderful guests this week, Danny, David, Gav, and Andrew.
I have to be here.
No, I see. I was being nice this week.
Don't you fucking start that nonsense.
That's
4 years, you stick it up your arse. Don't need any of that.
Hashtag no new contract.
No.
There will be no more 1 year of ABW. Right then. So that was a Bergkamp. Oh, is he?
He's on again.
Go on. What's he got to say?
Oh, he's just fucking. He's for fuck's sake in Gimliing. Maybe we should leave the last word to Davis because he'll have it whether you want him to have it or not.
All right. Let's.
Gimli, fucking hell, you turn up once a month and now you're acting like a cunt. Fucking behave.
Better way to end the show.
There's lovely.
Go on, then, Gim.
Well, do you want the outro now? Do you?
Yes, I do. Yes.
Okay. So that was a Bergkamp Wonderland podcast. Thank you so much for listening, and keep it Arsenal. Good night.
Recording on that.
How's Fife?
Hello, mate. How you doing?
Yeah, I'm all right, thank you.
Good stuff.
Oh, what is Gav doing? There's always one.
There is always one.
Is it me?
Yeah.
Nice of you to pick up the call.
It wouldn't let me pick it up.
Whatever, you say that.
And it took, I'm sitting here fucking playing with balls for 10 minutes. I'm going for a piss anyway.
So as soon as we start, I'll just do what Jason does. I'm just going to go and cook myself a caddy. Did anybody hear how often Jason interrupted me during the live show?
Yeah.
1 hour 20, I was almost at the point where I stopped talking. Him and Chris. That bit where they said, well, first of all, I'd get all the players in and I'd talk to them and go, like, what would be your ideal for... No, can't do... No, shut up, Chris. So I've told them if they do it again, I'm muting them.
I heard that bit as well.
Yeah, it's funny. But it annoys me. Can't get a play. But if I'm talking and then someone talks over me, I'll stop. Jason won't. This is war. Fucking, I'll burn the bitch alive. I will.
Isn't he Welsh?
I think no, he's not. He's whatever accent I just badly. I got a donkey. That's my Scottish. Oh, my donkey's got fleas.
Oh dear.
That's because Chris is a master of accents. Apart from...
It's as if Raj was in the room.
Oh dear, don't. I had too many peanuts yesterday, so I'm holding in a winner.
Oh my!
That needs to be let loose. Had to go to my brother's, just getting into the bath, going lowering down into it, and it's very hot. I squeal like a girl. Well, I squeal like a girl at the best of times.
Yeah.
What are we waiting for? Mr. Fife, how's things with the connection?
Yeah, everything's good, man.
Is it big? Tap the the mic on your laptop just to see if that's where the sound is coming from. Yeah, that's where that is. So when you're speaking, try and speak a little bit closer to the laptop. Don't do what Gimli would do now and breathe right into it. Like that tit's just done.
What, you have expectations?
Yeah.
Who would I be if I didn't fulfill them?
I've just started using my Windows tablet. I've got the 1010, which a bit bigger. Have you found your rear camera doesn't work?
No, I haven't had any problems with it. Although I've really only used it for podcasts. Chris, has he turned?
Yes, he's turned.
He has actually turned.
He's fucking turned. FK's turned. Chris has turned. It's only Jeff left
Chris?
to go. Chris, Pirate Chris, Carpenter. Does the radio. He does everything. He's a fucking pod whore.
He's slag.
Yeah, he's fucking... He's not gone full strutter yet, though.
See, where were you lot fucking 6 years ago when I was saying this? Didn't fucking listen, did you?
No, I did.
I was a fucking idiot.
I'd have sacked him after the Champions League.
I was just creating trouble when I said he's a fucking wrong un.
You did also say we should get Benteke up front, so...
Yeah.
I remember.
He's probably still scored more goals than fucking. Oh, don't
Be a
start.
long list.
If we had Benteke last year, we would have won the league.
Really?
Managing, yeah.
Just for the goals he scored against us.
Did he even score against us last season? Or you just been?
I think it was last season or the season before he scored.
Callum Chambers apart at home last season.
Yeah, was it last year or the year before? He scored two. He scored goals against 2 winners against us in the same season, or something silly like that.
What I didn't know, Holick, you probably remember this. Have you listened to the Tuesday Club yet? I mean, Holick, David.
Yes.
That bit where you had Watford home and away on the consecutive days.
Yeah.
If someone would have told me that, I'd have gone, that's bullshit.
No, it used to happen regularly.
Did you go to those?
You could even, I'm sure I remember back in the 60s, we might have played 3 games over Easter. It was crazy. But yeah, the funny thing was you did play the same side home and away in 24 hours. I remember us doing it with Sheffield Wednesday. You imagine hacking all the way up there after playing them at home the following day.
Wow. I know they used to do that over New Year, but back in the 20s and 30s. I didn't know they did it.
No, 60s I've done it.
Must have been fixture congestion for it to have happened in 86, 85.
Oh, yeah, 85.
Did you go to either of those? You lost 2-0 away and 3-0 at home, or the other way around?
I would have been at the home game because I don't think I went to Watford until the 90s. Well, they weren't very often up, were they? And
no, I went there for Nigel Gibbs' testimonial. What a shithole.
Yeah. Yeah, it was.
But you saying you went there when it was closed.
I've been to Highbury when it was closed. We were playing Newcastle on the Sunday. I went up on the Saturday.
Oh.
Didn't bother going on the Sunday.
Oh, no.
You muppet.
Has everyone heard the Tuesday Club? Oh, how good is it to hear them back? But
I listened to about 20 minutes of it before I went to sleep last night, but it was really good. I got to do a long trip out in the car tomorrow, so I'm going to put it on then. Everything's good to go. I'll just brief you on tonight's show, boys. Tonight is going to be a bit more of a, without chucking questions around, getting a bit of debate going. Obviously, there's like the fucking abortion of Crystal Palace to talk about, but we won't go into that into too much depth. I think there's loads of other points surrounding that we can talk about the manager, the abuse of the players, the fans turning on the team, where do we think it's gone wrong, all that kind of thing. And I'd like to get a bit of debate going. You're all pros on here tonight. So I know that you can get debate going. Of course, I'll be there to chuck questions around, but I think we can get it. We got loads of questions, Danny. I have asked a couple of times for them.
I've just seen a nice question. Will you be on this podcast more times than Sonogo will play for the first team this year?
I would imagine so.
Yeah, someone just put that up on Twitter.
There's also a poll going around about when you're going to get the first C-bomb in tonight, Gav.
Yeah.
When I saw it, 57% had said the intro.
Oh, I'm gonna go the whole way through without swearing.
Are you really?
Yeah, I'm not gonna curse once.
But your dulcet tones are a thing of wonder, Mr. Fife. A thing of wonder.
that Welsh bastard's even getting in and he's not even fucking here.
What the fuck was that?
But your dulcet tones are a thing of wonder, Mr. Fife. A thing of wonder.
Just the Welsh wonder himself, interrupting as usual. He's not even fucking here. What a shitbag.
How'd you do that?
What's that?
How'd you do that? Have you got his thing?
No, but he's actually not a real human being. We've just got an amalgamation of all the worst things about Wales.
It's like Stephen Hawking.
That's it.
That's the one.
I'm just saying, can you just press the button and that comes up?
Yeah, listen.
Slightly.
That's the most intelligent thing he's ever said. And I'm leaving this in, by the way. I think he's on about John being a sex pest. Go wandering around. I'm not going to say where he lives. Just generally being like a 60s milkman, helping himself to the ladies.
Right. Are we all good to go?
I want to leave that bit out.
No, I didn't put the area.
Let's go for it.
They should just be happy we didn't talk about Kit Kats. Right.
Everyone's got their phones on mute.
Everyone's phone is on mute.
Lovely. All right, Gimli, whenever you're ready. We started at 7:55 p.m.
Lovely.
the day after the world ended.
So we should be going for a 9:25 finish.
Hopefully, if you get the fuck on with it.
Wonderful. 3, 2, 1. Hello and welcome to a Bergkamp Wonderland, an Arsenal podcast. And keep it Arsenal. Good night.
No, you cheeky Welsh monkeys.
I half expected fucking Gimli.
No, that would be uncouth.
It's not the time.
Dan, what's he been doing? Just sending you little voice messages throughout the night or something?
No, he's just like that. He's just abusive all the time to everybody all fucking day long. So you just go to any random message that he does. Him and Steve, there's a million messages a day from the pair of them. Just go to any random message and it'll be him abusing people.
We're not recording, are we?
Yeah, still recording.
I know, I can hear the sound of my awful voice.
Is this not the unofficial piece?
No,
This is the tail piece.
Secret bit. No one hears.
Oh no, isn't it called the Easter egg? And it is Easter, so
Be a large one.
it should be a large one.
Should be. I've sent you a link on Twitter, 5, to the headphones that you need to get, and we've still got lots of money in the podcast funds if you want us to pay for them. But you really need to get them because they're USB ones, and we use them and they're brilliant. Gimli's just got them, and Davies has just got them.
Cool. Yeah, I'll have a look. Cheers.
Yeah, they're only 20 quid, so we'll
Nice.
yeah, you can just defraud a few banks, or I don't know what you'll do.
Have one less pint for lunch. I've had a touch of the man flu, mate.
Oh, bless ya.
I think I might have it coming, to be honest. I'm a bit sniffly. You might have heard me sniffle and cough a few
I
times.
think it's come down the line. It's dribbling into my ear through the headphones.
I thought David's ending the podcast with a really nice note, and I expect Gav to go, fucking get the cunt out!
No. I thought I was quite restrained really tonight.
Jesus Christ.
Do you know, I can't help, Gav. Whenever you come on the show, I've always got a fucking beaming smile on my face. You do make me laugh. I'm the same, Gav. The old boy that runs a fucking local pet shop in town. He's got a large tropical fish section. Obviously, you know, I've got dogs and cats, so I'm in there all the fucking time. All the time up to this point, I go in there and fucking rub it in. They'd fuck it up at the end of the season, and we still finish above them. I've been in his place twice this year, and I've practically gone out without buying anything, just fucking ridiculed. I now go to Pets at Home on the industrial at the bottom of the fucking road and go in there and pay literally twice the fucking price, and it's worth it.
Yeah, it's like, and that's the problem at the moment. No one. It's bad I mean, like, I guess most of you are like me. You bump. I mean, I get people know you for, and part of your identity is the fact that you're a bit of an Arsenal fucking lunatic. Do you know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Like, people
but I'm
know...
straight back at them, Gav, because they've been waiting 22 years to be able to have this spot, and I'm keeping them reminding the bastards.
Yeah, fuck the... I mean, but it just gets to the point. I mean, the fella in the flat above me, fuck, he's moving out next week, right? But, like, it's odds on I'll go out Sunday morning to do the shopping, and I'll bump into him, and there was, like, the other week he went, Did you lose the weekend? I went, no. I said, we play Monday. He went, oh. I went, but don't worry, we'll lose. Like that. And even the fellow who's got the balcony opposite me, he's a fucking Tottenham supporter as well. Do you know what I mean?
Not rats. They're everywhere.
Yeah, exactly. Well, you never, like I say, I live in London, Dan. You're never 5 fucking metres away from one of them. Do you know what I mean?
On Monday when we did the radio show, the Bulgarian bloke George come and delivered my I got first takeout this year, and he just come in and he stood there and he looked at the telly. We were 0-0 and then we were 1-0, and he looked at me and he smiled and he went, Arsenal, fucking shit. I mean, you support fucking Liverpool. What are you on about? He went, better than fucking you. And my mate Lee, the dirty Tottenham fan, that's not what I call him, but I can't call him what I call him on here. And he, after we lost, he just sent me a WhatsApp message going, Daniel, are you all right? Another one. Daniel, let me know you're all right. Daniel, I've rang you and you haven't answered. I'm worried.
Oh, don't.
Day after day, just messages. All right.
My non-Arsenal supporting mates have gone from sending me fucking videos of them pricks on Arsenal fan TV, right? So now, because like I say, I put them straight about them. Do you know what I mean? But now they send me videos of people being parodies of Arsenal fan TV.
Yeah. Like Master fan TV.
Yeah, so yeah, and I'm getting all that box. I'm like, look, I said they're so far away from anybody being I actually associate with being Arsenal supporters. I said you might as well send me fucking videos of Tottenham supporters fucking celebrating because it's exactly the same thing to me. Do you know what I mean? I'm going to get another can of beer. Hold on.
Even when you've got fans that don't like football, like my mate Ren, who comes over every Friday, he's a Subaru man, doesn't know anything about football. And he comes in and they go, Arsenal lost again. And I go, how do you know? He goes, I don't. I'm just guessing. It's fuck off. Yes. He's the one who he said, if I chose to pick a football team, what team should I pick? I said not Arsenal, and Anna, the Liverpool fan, said not Liverpool. We both agreed that probably Man City or Chelsea. That's a sad state of affairs when you get in neutrals and they ask you, tell them not your team. For fuck's sake. Don't need any more of it.
That kind of makes this podcast, doesn't it? Because we do have all views on here.
Yeah, we do try. Unlike I think even the whole of the Tuesday Club were all unanimous. No, get him out. We've had enough.
They were bloody brilliant last night, though. You got to say it.
It's just how could they be so brilliant and have such an amazing audience, massive audience, and not go? I suppose they don't monetize it, do they? So you can do Arsenal stuff and have a massive audience and not monetize it. You'd never hear an advert on there, will you? No. We don't because no one likes us, but we don't care. But it's just I listened to the whole thing as I was editing the Highbury Inn. I was just doing the Invincibles and Where Are They Now? And there's still 6 of them playing that have played at least one game in the league that season.
Oh, Kate's calling me for dinner.
Gonna put you in the oven.
Good, because I've got an empty glass as well. So
I'm having a full English breakfast for dinner in Wales.
Cooked with Welsh gas.
No.
Provided from the Davis.
No.
Fresh from his botty.
He has to be the last voice on the end tailpiece.
He does.
I'm going to go as well because I've got to get my glass filled up.
Okie dokie.
Great talking with you all.
I had for dinner, otherwise I'm going to be in trouble.
Yeah.
All right.
Right,
Good,
thank you
everyone.
very much.
Thank you ever so much.
Well, Gav's going to come back. There's going to be nobody here.
Fuck him.
Oh, Fife getting brave.
See you later.
See ya. Gav?
Ta-da.
Gav? Oh, for fuck's sake. Just you and me, Fife. I've got to go. I've got to go and lay an egg.
Sorry?
I've got to go and lay an egg.
Oh,
Gav's going to come back. There's no one here. What are you having for dinner? Fried and chips.
I had a chicken madras earlier. I was going to get something healthy. So I'm trying to hide it before Charlotte gets back.
Oh, dear.
Yeah, she won't be happy.
No, as long as she doesn't listen to the pod, you'll be fine.
Yeah, it'll be fine. She won't.
It's not a good time to try and get a neutral to try and support Arsenal, is it?
No, although, to be fair, sometimes the rants and the angry people get the most views. That's why the Daily Mail sells the most papers, right? So AFT gets all the hits when everyone's angry, so I don't know. But yeah it's not I'm too a fan.
I saw one of theirs got nearly a million views. We've got that in nearly 4 years, and they get it in one video in one night.
I'll tell you why Arsenal Fan TV gets so many views.
Don't ruin it, Gav. This is the extras.
Is it?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I weren't going to call them cunts.
No, you can call them cunts, call them whatever you fucking want, but nothing.
No, I don't want to call them anything. But more non-Arsenal support, more out of people that I know, more non-Arsenal supporters watch their videos than Arsenal supporters.
Yeah.
I get messages from Chelsea, West Ham, Tottenham, fans,
Everton, Liverpool and Spurs.
And they all send me messages, can't wait to watch Fan TV tonight. And that's why they're the ones that we lose get more hits because people are happy to watch Arsenal fans being pissed off.
That's why I was our one at the radio show we did on just after the game. That's had nearly 17,000 hits between YouTube and SoundCloud. Normally for a show we'll get 6, 7, 8, possibly 9. It's just sad that people tune in for that, and it's a record. We had 519 people watching at one point. For us, being a small pod, they're pretty big numbers, but it's just a shame that it comes when we've lost. We had all of our regulars there.
What's extras, by the way?
When the podcast finishes, there's 30 seconds of silence, and then there's just stuff before the pod or after the pod that I have to carefully pick to make sure there's nothing too libelous in there.
Oh, okay. So this ain't getting recorded now.
It is, yeah. I'll stick this in at the end as well.
What's happened?
Mr. Pfeiffer's gone.
Oh, it's just me and you then.
Yeah,
Where's
the others said goodbye, but you were busy off wandering around, getting angry, swearing at the fridge.
No. I'm honestly, I'm really calm and placid. I really am sort of chilled out.
That's because what you said was going to happen 6 years ago is happening 7 years ago.
Yeah.
It's just a matter of time, though, isn't it? It's a matter of time for every manager like that. I mean, look at Ferguson. His teams fell apart near the end. And he saved it by nicking our best player, winning the league, and then fucking off. And now look at the state of them. Hundreds of £300 million a year I think they've spent last season on wages and players. Ridiculous. But we're never going to do that.
But then Man United have... See, the thing is Man United have always done that. They was... I mean, you go back to the 70s, right?
And then Nick Stapleton offers.
Yeah, Man United and Liverpool were the clubs that had the money, right? Man United had the money because they had the most fans going every week, right? And Liverpool had the money because they were basically sponsored by the National Lottery, right? That's how Liverpool, won so much because they had all the money.
Not the lottery.
Well, exactly. Yeah. I mean, the pool, the Littlewoods pools was
everybody did it then.
Everybody did it. It was like doing the National Lottery. But it would literally be like a club sponsored by the National Lottery now.
You could win 200 grand if you spotted the ball.
Yeah, I know. I never got close. I used to do that with my grandparents.
Yeah, I remember doing it with my mum. My mum didn't know anything about football.
No, my grandma used to do it every week, and she used to do the same numbers, everybody's birth dates.
We used to trust them, to be honest. I bet they weren't.
What, the pools panel?
Yeah.
Or the dubious pools panel?
No, I mean spot the ball.
Spot the ball.
Yeah. How can that be accurate? So many people doing spot the ball. And the pools, yeah, did that a few times.
I never did it, but like I said, my grandma would, and I can still remember what my grandma's pools man looked like.
I've got to go because I'm holding in a peanut surprise. I had too many peanuts yesterday and they don't agree with me.
Okay, well, it was wonderful.
Yes, it was.
Are you going to invite me on again?
Yes, maybe a month or so.
Okay.
Yes, it's been about a month since the last one. We got you, we got Sophie, who we like to have on. Try and have her on once a month.
Sophie?
Nicolau. She is an English lady who lives, English Greek, I think, and she lives in LA, and she does all the lots of reporting for the LA Galaxy. Oh. She's a journalist over there, and we had her on once about 5 weeks ago. She's brilliant.
Oh, lovely.
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool.
Yes, so we have a few people on that we like to have on every now and then, which is good.
Purely international these days.
Well, jet set lifestyle.
And just what I'd say, Dan, is this making you want to go poo more or less?
Well, I'm wobbling around like an inflatable tit, so yes. Right, say goodbye to the listeners, Gav. There you go. Right, as you were.
You don't really put these bits on at the end, do you?
You have a listen. It'll be there.
Oh, you're joking.
It. No, they love it. I get it from the Mark Kermode and Simon Mayo.
Simon Mayo?
Yeah.
Isn't he like one of the only 80s DJs who didn't get done for paedophilia?
That's it. They now do a radio show on BBC Radio 5 every Friday for 2 hours talking about films. And at the end of it, only for the podcast, you just hear them talking about the show and what they do. They do it before the show and after the show. Sometimes it's 10, 15 minutes of them just talking like we are. And I thought, I'll do that. And so far, no one's copied us, but I copied them.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
I wouldn't have actually said a word. I mean, people hear me being nice, cool, calm, and collected.
They're not going to like that, are they?
No.
Yeah. No. So what it is, you have on YouTube, it's 30-second gap of silence. Then the extras are there, and then on iTunes and everywhere else, it's the end of the show, then the music, then 30-second gap, and then it is. So people know. Not everyone knows it's there. Been doing it for 2 years. People usually turn off. Right, go away, and go and have a poo.
No, I've got one more question before you go.
What's my favourite ever lineup for every decade for the last 25,000 years?
No. I was actually going to ask for your comparison between the 98 side and the 91 side, and who you would think would win if Henry was in the 91 side.
Oh, yeah.
And Alan Smith was in the 98 side.
Oh, yeah. It'd be a draw.
Who would score first?
0-0.
Do you reckon? So you reckon?
Yeah.
So you reckon a 98 and a 98 back four was actually better than the 91 back four?
0-0. Go away.
Seriously though, Dan, right? Just before you go, I've got one question for you. You've seen a lot of good left-sided midfielders, right?
Yeah.
In your time.
Steve Williams.
Right? No. He was more centre, wasn't he? So, like, if we're talking about, like, for number 7s at Arsenal, since you've been watching Arsenal.
Nelson Vivas.
No, we'll start with David Rocastle, right? Then you've got...
Rocastle wasn't left, he was right.
No, I know, but he wore number 7, didn't he?
Oh, right, okay.
So we're gonna do number 7s, right? If you had to choose...
Tell you, if we do number 7s, I'm doing a number 2.
I know. Right, so we've got... Right, okay, so we'll start with Rocastle.
I'm going.
Rocastle, Marwood.
Say goodbye.
Parr.
Say goodbye.
No. But Rocastle, Marwood.
Bye-bye. Marwood
Perez.
was 11, by the way, not 7.
I know, but we're talking about that side of the pitch, right? Which one of them would you think would rather piss on Wenger from 6 foot?
You mean Wenger?
No, I fucking... Look, I tell you what, I care little about his pronunciation.
You care even less about his pronunciation than you do about him.
I wish I never had to pronounce his name properly again.
Right,
So-
piss off.
No, Dan, seriously.
No.
Seriously, as a one season one off, right? Would you rather Marwood 89, Limpar 91, or Perez 2004?
Perez scored they scored 14 goals that season.
Yeah, but what about Limpar 91? Won us the league at a canter.
Well, Bobby was French. He had the flair. There, I should say Limpar because he's been on the pod, hasn't he?
He should do, and he's a very, very nice man.
He certainly is.
Very,
Right,
very
I'm going to end this call in 3, 2.
Dan.
Bye-bye.
Dan.